If you've ever been extremely excited for the weekend to begin, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Happy Friday. We are almost at mice down, drinks up time, but we got one more day to get through. See what we can make sense of today. Had a huge day yesterday. Let's see if we get more rotation. Let's get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and welcome, folks, and welcome back. Happy Friday. Hope you all had a great week, ready to start the weekend. Alyssa, like smashed, ready for the weekend. Let's go. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. We're going to start with positive momentum today. Let's roll that momentum forward and bring on 13, who's mid-sip. That's how we do it here. That's how we do it here. That is how we do it here. 13, how you doing today? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm doing all right. Looking forward to the weekend, like you said. I got a lot of stuff to do. Still have to do some cleanup from barrel. But other than that, looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be good.
So overall, how was that cleanup? You mean, is it just kind of fallen trees and debris? I mean, it wasn't like mass destruction or anything, was it?
We didn't get hit with mass destruction. Some trees around my neighborhood did fall. There were some fences that got hammered. Some other folks that I know of that live a little bit more north in a more wooded area, they had a lot of trees fall. So I'm just gonna, I'm just trying to get things back on track. There was a little bit of a mess that got blown around, so just have to take care of things like that.
Okay,
nothing too big.
All right, good. Well, hopefully you enjoy your weekend. But as I mentioned at the outset here, we've got one more stock session to get through here. So let's go ahead and break down the SPY. I'm curious to see what you see here. Yesterday, we covered it really from the open, right? We were seeing very, very clear rotation out of SPY, out of Qs, and into the IWM, into small caps. And really the only question that I have here today is, will that continue? Because we've seen this before. We've seen one-day moves, and the next day you get an immediate opposite day, and it just really kind of comes back in. So I want to see if we hold that. I started here with the SPY chart. I'll come back to that. But since I'm mentioning the IWM here, this is really what I'm kind of looking for. I mean, look at this area that we're at right now on the IWM. This is absolutely a potential breakout spot. Would love to see a trade up to 220 as someone that owns a lot of smaller cap stocks here. I personally would love this. And frankly, for the larger market, I think this would be a good thing. We've talked a lot about there being massive amounts of concentration and only a handful of stocks. And I'd love to see some of that money kind of come out of those names and then spread into the other 6,000 stocks in the market that really don't trade very well at all. So we'll see if that relationship continues here today. We're taking a look at the SPY. We did pull back here. I'm curious, 13, I know you have some levels here to the downside. I spent a lot of time charting the levels on the way up. So now we should be able to observe those levels on the way down here. 556.48 is where we're currently at. We've got the 20-day moving average here at 549. We'll see if we end up trading down to 550. We're a little bit higher in the pre-market than where we closed yesterday, but frankly, this could very easily reverse as soon as we open here. The other thing to note is that the RSI has been brought down to 69.66, so we're right at that threshold for overbought. I think this could probably use another day of maybe coming back in or settling down to bring that RSI down. We also had a macro event yesterday. We had a press conference out of the White House. Not sure if that introduces more uncertainty. If it does, remember, this is a Friday, so I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of new positions being initiated into a weekend, but we'll wait and see if the data shows us that. 13, what do you have here on the SPY or on any of the other indexes in the markets?
Just real briefly on the IWM, I liked your 220 level. That's actually right in the middle of consolidation that we were getting from February to February of 21 to January of 22. It's just a whole year of just kind of going back and forth. Now, interestingly, I did put a level out at 225, so that would be where my target is, and it's a little bit, higher up into the consolidation. But I still like your 220 as well. It could definitely go that high, and maybe have a time trying to go higher after that. But we'll see. I'm more interested in what's going on with the SPY right now because, as you said, we did have a pretty big selling day. That resulted in a daily engulfing candle on the SPY. So that's a bearish candle. That's usually an indicator that we may be going lower here. And so far today, we are just kind of right near the close of yesterday, which is okay. One of the things I want to see happen next is I want to see the 555 handle get taken out. That's the next big level for me to see fall. After that, there are a series of just a couple of previous all-time highs. I don't really think that's going to be as important as what the price is going to do once it reaches the 20-day SMA. This rally that we've been on since about May has been kind of leaning on the 20-day SMA for support. We got that once towards May where it broke beneath it and then snapped right back above it and kept writing it up. So I want to see what happens when we get a test of that 20-day SMA, and maybe we'll see a subsequent fall beneath that. But first things first, 555 is the level I want to see fall first.
Okay. And it's interesting there that, first of all, I agree with all of the spots that you just gave us, but it is interesting because we did have one candle here on the SPY this morning that really kind of came back in towards that 550 level. Now it did get bought back up. Right. So, and I wasn't actually watching this in the moment, so I don't have context on how this candle actually formed here. But just looking at the levels, we did go down towards that 555 level already here today. So we'll see if we can do that here again.
It was probably PPI.
Okay. It was probably just
right
the digestion of that number. Okay. And real quick here, I might as well, while we're on it, since you mentioned it, might as well read it here. PPI month over month for June plus 0.2 versus the 1/10 estimate. Prior reading was flat, revised up from a 0.2 loss. That's not easy to say. U.S. PPI year over year for June, 2.6% versus the 2.3% estimate. Prior reading was 2.4%, again, revised up from 2.2%. The core PPI month over month for June, 0.4% versus 0.2%, and the versus the 0.2% estimate. Prior reading was 0.3%. So there's going to be your PPI numbers here. At 13, I think you're exactly right. That candle is probably just the digestion of those numbers. Wasn't actually watching the SPY in that moment. We'll see where we end up going here today on the SPY. Now, as far as the swing account goes, been actually doing really, really well there, especially yesterday. Yesterday was an absolute monster day. I'm going to kind of wait that out. And then as far as the day trades here today, I'm not necessarily going to be too aggressive right around the open. I want to see if we get a head fake here on the opening print. But let's go ahead and prepare with some of these movers. There are definitely some here today. A lot of them are, let me reset this chart here. A lot of them are ones we're familiar with, but we do have two new issues here today. So let's roll through them real quick. First one here is going to be Toyo. This is ticker TOYO. The stock popped almost towards 4. Looks like it stopped here at about 390. We do have some pretty good price action here on Toyo. So some back and forth, and the volume looks really good. Would love to see if this actually holds into the market. Now, this is a really new issue. Not only is there really no fresh news here, but we actually don't have any news or data past the beginning of July here. So 13, what do you make of this? I mean, again, not a whole lot to go off of, really just over about a week of data. Are there any conclusions that you can draw from this?
It seems like because of what happened yesterday, that risk is on. So you're going to see a lot of these companies that, have no fundamentals, no real technicals, that people are just going to say, okay, well, this has been beaten up. I'm going to try and see if I can, squeeze something out of this. And that's what happened with Toyo, is that after it IPO'd earlier this month, it just sold off. It sold off every day. I think it's today might be the first positive day it's had on the daily chart. Or maybe no, it was bottoming earlier. So it had some better days earlier, but it was bottoming this week. We got a pop this morning. It's got a 41.6 million share float. So I feel like it's still going to be easy to trade, but it's not one of those low floats that we'd like where it's 10 or less. It might be a little bit leaky. I just don't have any particular levels for this except to the downside. So I really don't know how high this could go. It's trade this one at your own risk. This is one of two IPOs that we're going to be covering today. Just try to be careful with this one. I really don't know how high or low it may end up going. It could be volatile today.
Yeah, indeed. And, one of the things that makes these newer issues a little bit more difficult, we don't really have previous action to lean on. Sometimes we can look back, look to the left, as you like to say a lot, 13, and see what the stock did when it had a certain thing. Well, that was crazy. They just crashed into my window. And see, what it did. How did it behave? And then maybe we can make some inferences about how it's going to behave under certain situations going forward. Now, looking at the intraday chart here, like I said, there is some back and forth. We are seeing some higher lows on this 1 minute chart. So we'll see if that continues. First thing it's got to do here is hold the VWAP at 295. Guess you could call the round 3 number in there as well, but this is kind of what we're looking at. We'll see if this gets going. Again, maybe we get a push here out of the gate, but gonna kind of wait this out here today. Really, after yesterday's really great day, actually the best day in my portfolio yesterday in several months. So after that, one of the things I'm not gonna do is just kind of rush into something and be completely undisciplined and start my Friday off on a bad note. We're not going to do that. We're going to do the opposite of that. So I have no problem kind of waiting this out, seeing how it trades, then making assessment and going from there. Next one here on the list is going to be CGBS. This is Crown LNG Holdings Limited. This is not one I've ever pulled up here before. Global liquefied natural gas infrastructure company that seeks to provide natural gas liquefaction, storage, and regasification services. So that's what the company does here. Stock is up. This says it's up 71% here. And what's wild about this is that you can see the move that it made in the pre-market. This stock yesterday was $2.50. This printed 14s in the pre-market here today. And we've come all the way back into 4. We're still up an eye-popping 71%. We've carved out a gigantic range here in the pre-market, and actually the volume numbers look pretty decent here. We've already traded almost 10 million shares. The average is 1 million. Don't have a float reading for it. So I would say let's be careful with this one, but clearly something's going on here. This thing has already had kind of a wild pre-market. We've got a $2 range up to the VWAP at this point. So if this thing gets rolling here, there could be a potential trade. Potential trade to be had here. Excuse me. 13. What do you have on CGBS, Crown LNG Holdings?
This is the other newly listed stock here. It IPO'd this week. It only has a 1.36 million share float. So unlike Toyo, this one could end up moving a lot more, in a much more volatile way.
Well, heck, we already saw that once today. We might see it again.
We already saw that once. It could keep doing it. So again, with Toyo and this one, there's not a whole lot of older data to draw on. So you're going to have to, be a lot more nimble and rely on certain technicals that are very new. I don't even have RSI or moving averages because it's so new. So that's unless I go to smaller time frames. So I just don't particularly care for the risk here. If I was going to trade this at all, I'd wait to see what happens at the open and then decide. But for me, I think because I know I'm not going to be good at trading IPOs like I know that some other traders are, it might not just even take a stab at these. I may just look for something else that I know I can trade.
Okay. It seems to me that the key thread that we've uncovered so far today is going to be patience, in particular, patience around the open. So no problem with that. Let's keep rolling through some of these movers here, and then we can go to the chat and see what stocks you folks want to take a look at. Next one here is going to be SNTG, and we're all pretty familiar with this. We've traded this one a number of times before. Centage Holdings. This did pop here in the after hours yesterday, popped again here in the pre-market. Now we've given up all of the pre-market gains, and we've retraced about half of the move that happened in the after hours yesterday. Looking at the news here, I really don't see a whole lot of anything. Maybe it's buried in here. Not really. No, this is just kind of describing the movement. Don't really have any catalyst here for SNTG. 13, did you find one, or did anyone else find one? Maybe I'm just missing it.
I looked and I didn't see any news going on with this. So, like I said, there's a lot of risk on happening right now as a result of what went on yesterday. So you're going to probably see some movement in names with no news. It's not going to make any sense why it's moving, but because traders want to take a risk at something that's probably been going sideways for a very long time, or has a lot of short interest, things like that. They're just going to, suddenly pile into, try to get a whole bunch of people excited about, and then they're just going to sell their position, and it's going to take them down with them. So I think today is just a day to be very, very careful with. Maybe don't hold your positions for too long, but I don't want to tell you how to trade. You guys trade how you will. Yeah. Just be careful with these positions that we get ourselves into today, because I think there's a lot of them are going to be very risky.
Okay. So SNTG here, as you can see from the daily chart, this loves to pop and loves to drop. Right. So don't lose sight of that. Maybe we do have some more room here, but it is likely to come back in. We'll take this question. This is really, really timely. Lynn saying, curious, reason you sort movers by percentage, ? We sort by raw change because you can't eat or buy groceries with percentage. Indeed, that's true. But first of all, there's two reasons why I do this. Number one, the bigger part of trading here is going to be risk management. And the percentage is far more important than the raw dollar, especially when I can adjust my position size accordingly. That's going to give me a more accurate read of what I can do. Furthermore, this particular tool doesn't work on change. Okay, it doesn't work on raw change. So what it's doing is it's finding you the top movers based on the settings that you have in order of percent change. When you click on the raw change to sort by that, all you're doing is reorganizing the list of 100 stocks that are being gathered by percent change. I've always used percent change. I definitely will note what the raw dollar change is, but with percent change, it makes it very easy for me to adjust my position size to capture the movement. Hope that answers your question. Next here on the list is going to be Zap, and this is also a familiar one. Now check this out here. Zap actually has a piece of news here today. So I'm going to start with the 15-minute chart here so we can behold the move that Zap has made. We started right around $2, just shy of $2, traded all the way up to almost 20, came back into 7, and now we're curling up again. So let's see how high this can go. We do have a catalyst here. Zap electric vehicle shares are trading higher after the company announced that it had entered into a new standby equity purchase agreement with the affiliate of Yorkville Advisors Global to start production and commercial rollout of the i300 electric urban motorcycle in India. So this is basically a PR saying that their electric vehicle is going to get rolled out here in India. That's driving the stock higher by 21% here today. We've actually seen this trade a lot recently, so we're well aware of what this stock can do. Keep this one on your radar as well. 13, you have anything on Zap, Z-A-P-P here today? So,
I didn't really cover this one too much just because we've seen it run before. We already know about it. Just to remind you about what's going on with this one, it has a very low float, less than 1 million shares. It's actually 769,000. And its short interest is a little bit high, but the days to cover really doesn't make a difference here because it's already been trading, it's already traded almost 3 times. Maybe that's past that now. It's traded 3 times its float already this morning. So this one can move around quite a lot, and because it's a higher short interest, we could see times where it'll push up really high and then come right back in. So be careful with this one, but I think this will probably be a better trading vehicle today than some of the other IPO ones that we were looking at earlier.
And really quickly, while you were going over that 13, I used the 15-minute chart here, which gives us a good view of what the stock has done recently. And we drew a Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high here. And look, lo and behold, it looks like we kind of stopped at the 0.382 level today here in the pre-market. So let's maybe note some of these levels. These might come into play again. The actual number, price level of these levels, 1261. That looks like where we kind of stopped here today. We'll look to take that out as soon as the market opens here. And if this continues to run here, 1513, maybe we'll call that the area between 15 and 1513 looks to be the next area up. And then the high here that we printed on July 9th. So, okay. So there we go. So we got, go ahead.
I like the way that looks. I mean, I don't want to make any guarantee that it's going to 15, but to me, it's looks like it has the potential to go to 15.
At least we laid out a plan. At least we
Yeah.
know what to look for here. We're prepared here on Zap. Okay, next one here is going to be IMMP. This is another one that we've had experience with in the past. Immutep shares are trading higher after the company announced results from cohort B of the TACTI-003 phase 2B trial evaluating one of its drugs in combination with another one of its drugs and the therapy Keytruda as a first-line treatment of recurrent and metastatic head and neck squamous cell carcinoma patients with negative PD-L1 expression. So,
Nailed
hey,
it.
look, I got my coffee here today, 13. I was up at 5. I've got coffee. I'm ready to roll. IMPP, this popped in the after hour. We went up towards 350, did not quite get there. Retraced about 75% of the move. We're below the VWAP here. We've actually had this stock show us that it's using the VWAP as upside resistance here in the pre-market. So for me, if this one's really going to kind of get going, first thing that it's got to do, reclaim that VWAP, and it's got to do this on volume. We've seen a lot of these stocks here attempt to reclaim their VWAP fairly early on, only to get rejected and pulled. I've actually traded some of those and taken losses on them. So we want to be prepared for that and then try and get the best possible entry for that. I would be looking, if you're kind of looking at the stock right now, like it's looking like it's doing a decent job holding the 230 level. So maybe a push up off this level is better entry, excuse me, with a really, really tight stop. So you don't have to take a bunch of paper cuts throughout the course of the day. You got anything on IMMP here today?
I think Webcoin highlighted my big concern here with this one. It's that the float is too large. I don't see that we have a read on the float in Pro, but I'm looking over at another source here. It says the float is 122 million shares. So temper expectations with this one. You might not get the movement you are looking for with this, like we get with these other runners, because the float is so big. It might see some upside movement, but it may not hit your the targets or the highs it was making earlier this morning. So just keep that in mind.
Really good call there.
That's fine. But could I address Frank's question real quick? Who's
absolutely. This one?
Yes. So they were halted earlier this morning because they were doing a reverse split. I believe that executed already. I'm not 100% sure, but I did see that across the news. I didn't cover this one, but I did see that they were going to be doing a 1-for-3 reverse stock split today. So that's likely the reason why it's down.
Okay. I think that it looks like on Pro, it's been fixed here. This says it's up 6%.
I don't know if it's up or down, but I'm just telling you, if there's any unusual movement with NYCB, it's because of their reverse split they're doing. Yeah, and
it starts trading here. So let's see what happens. Your broker or whatever you're looking at that in might adjust right at that opening print. But yeah, really good call. I actually didn't even have that on my radar. Shout out to you guys for having that. Kingdom Lamb. Yeah, you're exactly right. Ryan, you said IMPP instead of IMMP. Couple of things about this. First of all, this is just an absolute crying shame that there are a whole bunch of tickers that are very, very similar to each other. I definitely have made that mistake a bunch, and I am here to tell you that is not the last time that I am going to make that mistake. So Kingdom Lamb and anyone else in the chat, if you guys recognize that I screw up a ticker like this, please correct it. I try to catch myself every time. I know how annoying that is, especially if you can't see the screen and you're trying to look at charts as we're rolling through them. Correct me if you can. You guys can all help each other out. There's no way I can promise you that I will never make this mistake again. I absolutely will. It's not easy to get these right all the time. Please help me out and help correct me when I do make that mistake. I will try to stay on top of it as best I can.
We got another about 90 seconds before we start, but I just noticed that Webcoin was mentioning NISN had nice earnings. I think we know about this one, don't we? This has been a happy hour exclusive that we have a gentleman who has been trading in and out of this one, and I'm sure he's going to be very happy with the result today. You got to understand, though, this is they have a lot of cash. I believe that's why they're doing so well, and they have been doing well. Just keep in mind, this is a Chinese company, and you have to temper your expectations about what you can get out of this. You might see this, pull for no reason. Just bear in mind of where the stock is headquartered at, and you may want to, take that into consideration when trading or owning this.
They say they have a bunch of cash. Question is, do you believe them? Right.
Right.
And you're
Exactly.
absolutely right. This was a very, very quick double. Guy in the happy hour had been mentioning this for several weeks, starting to buy in the 3s and 4s, bang, 100% in very, very short order. So good stuff.
And also, if you we're interested in Generac, that ended up doing really well. This is still the same week where we had the hurricane, and I've already seen a whole bunch of people, including in my own neighborhood, trying to pick up more generators. So there's definitely a demand for Generac right now, and the chart is looking pretty decent, and we're about to open too. So
okay,
we're good.
Before we open here, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help getting above the 25K day trading threshold, they can help. If you need more dry powder, they can help with that too. Great guys, give us plays. Go check them out. Here is your Generac chart. Boy, we got that before the open. Look at that. Bang, and we're open. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Here is your Generac chart, by the way. So hurricane season here. This seems to be working. We'll see if it actually finds some resistance here at the 155 level or if it keeps going higher.
That was a good one.
That was a good one indeed.
All right, folks. And so far, Archer, which I like to look at, is having a good move out of the gate. Well, we'll see what happens with that.
CGBS getting some action here. Sorry, it was back and forth there. Let me flip over to Trade the Pool here real quick.
Yeah, I'm going to start bringing up some of these ones we were talking about. I got to watch them just in case. Like Toyo, how's that one doing? Not a whole lot yet. CGBS. Man, they're both kind of not doing nothing. All right. And this is, of course, just a reminder. If none of these that we've talked about look good, maybe some of the older ones from yesterday or earlier in the week will buy trades, as they still have some relative volume available. Looks like CGBS is trying to push up through the 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
Really quickly here, Jay saying breadth was amazing yesterday despite the Mag 7 and the Qs. See, this is Jay is highlighting right now why we have been wanting a sell-off. It's not because we are big bad shorters and we hate AI and all of this. No, it's because when there's so much concentration, when that breadth starts to spread out, that's going to make so many other stocks more appealing to trade. So Jay, this here, you're absolutely right. And frankly, I want to see more of this.
Yeah. The concentrations in just a handful of stocks have also shown us that, while those can continue to go up, much of the S&P 500 stocks have been down. So now we're getting some rotation out of these really big names that have been doing well for, I guess we'll call it months. And now we're getting into some of the beat up names. Especially the ones that have, that have cash and make a profit. All right. Looks like LGVN, that was getting mentioned earlier by, I believe was it Lion Atlas? Were you mentioning LGVN? I think you were. That one is getting a pop out of the gate here. So, hey, some of the old names are still hanging around.
Indeed. That Toyo here pulled back just a little bit right to its VWAP. Actually looks like it's trying to hold there. We'll see if this actually pops away. If you're going to trade this here, say trade it against the low a day, but I'd actually still prefer to wait this out.
Soundhound is getting some movement.
And ISN halted down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this thing obviously pretty thin. That thing was above 9, went right to 791.
Yeah. Soundhound is having a pop out of the gate here this morning. 575 would be my upside target here.
SNTG, maybe this is starting to pop towards the VWAP. Got another 50 cents ish until we get there. Let's take a look at Sound as well. That's popping here, looking like 556. Got a pretty big size there at 556.
Daniel's mentioned Zap. That's been the fun one, I think, for a good portion of the week has been Zap.
Yeah, this has actually been going on for a bit, for 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, actually, great call. That one hit 1330. That was higher. That broke out of the pre-market highs. Now it's coming back in. I think what we're going to want to see here with this one, in this current candle here, which has another minute left in it, is try to hold above VWAP. If it does, then there may be some more upside ahead. MACD is showing that we should be getting more upside too. So keep an eye on this one. If you're trying to trade it, look for a good entry. maybe somewhere around 1250. But
13 tests coming right here. This was the high of the pre-market. Let's see if we break out here from 13. Not the guy, this price level.
Yeah, just like an alien, just break out of 13.
Classic movie, by the way. Classic.
Toyo leaking down. SNTG almost up to 65 EMA on the 5-minute. It's still beneath VWAP. VWAP I have at 365.
I think this one's probably going to go back towards its VWAP there.
It certainly could. I don't know if it's going to break out of it, but it looks like it might have a date with its VWAP, so it's possible. Sure.
Go Steve mentioning that block popping out of the gate here. That moving up here. And that's one of those stocks that was beaten down. So maybe that's part of that rotation here.
All right, what's going on with SPY here? Just want to take a quick look, see what the price action is like. Kind of sideways. All right. Oh no, not the ads, Market Sniper. IVP again, says Kingdom Lamb. I'll take a look at IVP.
Market Sniper, set a timer. It should be 30 minutes at the minimum. EV Go, did this halt? This popped right here out of the gate. No, this is still an NYCB resumed. Let's see what that's doing.
Kingdom Lamb, IVP. Great call. It looks like it's trying to get it looks like it tried to break out from the open of yesterday, which was a high of 650. So if it's getting rejected there, then I think 650 is going to be an interesting level going forward in this stock if we're looking for more upside. A breakout of 650 is what I'd want to see. And then the next level after that is we'll call it 945, 950. That was the high from the day before. So those are the levels I would have in IVP if we're going to trade to the upside. First, want to see a break at 650, and then I want to see if I can capture as much on the way up to 950. That would be my goal.
Chewy here getting mentioned by the gunner. Chewy, how about that 25 level? Really looks like Chewy kind of set that as the support level here, doing a really good job curling off that. We continue to see any of that rotation into the IWM here. Chewy looking pretty good at the spot that it's at now. In fact, I wanted to take a look at the IWM real fast. That's still holding higher here. 213. Would love to see this go towards 220.
I'll take a look at CMND, that mentioned by Lion Atlas. This is another one we've traded before.
Krispy Kreme popping here out of the gate.
So it looks like CMND got a nice move out of the gate, but rejected at VWAP. So now I'd want to see if it will hold in the, let's say it hold, 160 is the absolute bottom it has to hold. If we go lower than that, I would probably want to be done. But for me, CMND, as long as we get support at around 160, I think we still could try to push up through VWAP. We have a after hours high from yesterday at 210. So there you are with that one.
Zap coming back into the VWAP here. I did notice KB mentioned Lucid here. Also noticed that Lucid was on the scanner. Lucid just ripping out of the gate here on volume. Was there news on this? I don't think so. Let me just double check that.
You know what's interesting is that I also saw another penny stock this morning, VEV. They just got CARB certification, which enables sales and incentive programs within the United States. They have a 41 million share float. That was another stock that was moving this morning, and I thought that was kind of interesting because it's yet another EV play. All right, so Zap coming back in. It's beneath VWAP. It looks like it's wanting to try and hold 12. That more pre-market consolidation kind of gives it a bit of a channel supply zone there. So 12 would probably be where I'd want to see it hold up. If we start trading beneath 12, then maybe we'll have to look for some bounce levels on the way down. All right. Lots of things kind of pulling back at the moment.
Yep. NISN is open. That thing is still repricing itself. So that's back and forth. Easy Mike, really appreciate this. Nice work on Trader TV Live yesterday. 100%. Really appreciate it. Look, those Trader TV guys, they're real great. They're real nice. They're real knowledgeable. They have a lot of fun. Easy Mike, this means a lot. I'm going to keep going over there. So thank you much, man. VEV at the top of my relative volume scanner, 13.
Yeah, that was at the top of mine this morning. It's just that it goes above and under $1 pretty frequently. So not really something I'm interested in grabbing. But hey, I don't want my comments to stop y'all from doing that. You trade it if you want.
Archer to the highs here. ACHR looking like that might be making a move towards 5. Toyo here, which we covered this morning, right at the VWAP here. There's actually a bid right at that VWAP.
So let's see who said that. Jonathan Cooper. I can feel a BTC push coming. So the current chart right now would indicate that I think you might be right. It looks like it's curling and trying to take out the high it just made about 25 minutes ago. Which is 57,825. That's going to be the breakout level. I think it's going to take us to 58,000. So I would agree with that. We'll see if that's what happens. I don't want to make any predictions, but that's what I would be watching for, is a break above that high we just recently made and taking it up to 58,000.
Toyo here, one of the things that I'm watching is whether it can hold this 288 level, which brought the bid in. That's also right where the VWAP seems to be. Doing a decent job so far, but really doesn't have the strength to push above that 3 range, which is what we would like to see for a scalp trade here.
Yeah, Joby should also be moving. I think they had news yesterday, and they're also part of this whole risk on movement that we're seeing.
Let me check something here.
Well, Zap coming back. It's back up above its VWAP for the time being. So far, so good. Holding 12. It's got to break over that 1330 now. And as a matter of fact, I see a lot of sellers at 13. So if we can actually get the volume, which at the moment it's not that encouraging. If we can get enough volume to break over 13, then I think we're going to see some fireworks. It's expanding.
Which ticker here?
This is Zap.
Okay, I had EV go
there
up
we go.
here, but let me go to Zap here real quick. Sorry, here you go. Okay, you're right at the top.
Yeah, and it's trying to get over 1330 right now. And there it goes.
Oh, sorry, I'm still handling something here on my end real fast.
No worries.
Try to get everything done before we start, but stuff always comes up.
You're the mastermind, dude. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Watching some of the other names I have some smaller positions in. MP Materials is actually having a nice week. What else? I'd like for this to fill.
Okay, we should be in good shape now. 13.
All right, good. Make some money.
Okay.
That's
Lucid's going to take out 4 here. Look at this power move on Lucid. You're right, KB. This is flying. Now, I know they reported deliveries earlier this week, didn't they? Those were good. Let me get this. Lucid recorded quarterly deliveries of over 2,000 vehicles for the first time earlier this week. While it has consistently reduced the amount of loss per vehicle over the previous 4 quarters, it remains to be seen if it can amp up its pace as it aims to become more profitable. So it seems to me like this is the first step in that profitability turnaround here on Lucid. I am not going to be, I love the car, but I'm not going to be suckered into buying a huge move like this. I'll wait for this to come back. One to keep on watch. Let's see if the story changes here, or if it has changed here. I beg your pardon.
I'm one stock that I'm keeping an eye on. Car. That one's looking like it's trying to resolve its inverse head and shoulders.
Now that would be another move up here, right? You were looking at this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So far it's had a good couple of days coming off that bottoming action from Wednesday. So let's see if this can push through its 20 and 50-day SMAs. That's probably going to happen sometime next week if we get it.
Glenn saying huge buyer remorse I hear on Lucid. That's interesting. I've seen the car. I've seen them in the wild, so to speak, but I've never actually talked to an owner themselves and kind of picked their brain on what they thought of that. That's interesting. That's the first time I've heard that. Not going to dispute it, though. Wouldn't know myself. Real quick here, one simple trade. Hey, Ryan, long time I've been out, missed the show. Welcome back. We missed you. Have you looked into Caspa token? No, I'm afraid I haven't. My Bitcoin exposure, like I said, I'm a hodler and I'm best in breed. So it's just Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. I haven't looked into any of the new tokens. I'm interested in that stuff. So if you've got some material that I can read, feel free to email it to me. But no, I have no knowledge on that particular token. Ask Anne-Marie about car again. We can. Yeah, we can. Sure. Jay, you're on Donut here today. DNUT. That continues to move here out of the gate. That's Krispy Kreme. That is, in my opinion, the best donut of all time. But I gave up donuts in an effort for heart health.
DJF saying XBI, IWM, and FSLR calls. Are you jumping into those? I don't know what XBI is. I think
that's the biotech index. That's going to be a lot of. That's a continuation from the rotation we saw yesterday. It seems to me like that's what DJF is on here. Make a lot of sense until that, ends.
Yeah. I hope those work out for you. Okay. So XBI, now that I've seen a larger time frame chart, I see what you're talking about here. So I think what the goal here is for you is to try to get to 103. What's your goal with XBI DGAF? I see VIS picking up some volume. Says Market Sniper.
What's interesting here, Tesla and Apple seem to be the only stocks from that Mag 7 that seem to be trying to retrace any of the down move. The rest of these seem to be at lows. DJF also saying trying HD calls. I like this. Remember, this was a trade that triggered yesterday. This dipped through this is one of the things I talked about on Traders TV. This dip through 346 triggered this long. We stayed near the highs. Looks like we're going higher here. Home builders, definitely. We talked about, I think it was Jay Rice that was talking about home builders really early yesterday. So other stocks that would affect that, Home Depot's lows would be in there. This Home Depot chart looks good, DJF. I'm with you on that trade.
So, yeah, I like it's got a great bullish pattern here that is formed on the daily. One thing I'd want to see happen next is I'd want to see a little bit of consolidation between here and 365, since that's kind of where there's a bit of consolidation in that area looking left. But I want to see it break out of that too.
So it's going to be that 365 area you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at a daily chart and you go back to April and then further back into February, you can see how we kind of consolidated every time we get up to this level. Yep. So that's the consolidation I want to see. We might go back and forth for a number of days, but I ultimately want to see it break above that.
Yeah, you're right on that level 13. This is as clear as day right here on this daily chart. I know this is the small daily chart that I have, but that's super crispy right there. Super crispy. Okay, I like that DJF. I like the HD move.
Yep.
Toyo looks like this is breaking down here. Glad I kind of avoided this today. SNTG. Ooh, we did pop to the VWAP here. SNTG. We're actually above it. Let's see if we can keep rolling. Volume looking good here.
Yeah. So 385. That'd be my next target to take a little bit off the table here. That's one of the levels I have. Above that, I have 460. So we're getting into some supply zone here. If you look to the left from pre-market and after hours. You can see that this has been kind of the area where it goes sideways for a little bit before it makes a decision on the direction. So be careful here. Yeah.
Stopped right there. Don't think that's a coincidence. That's spot on 13.
Okay. Let's see what's next that we can, some of these small names are just doing so good today. I like it.
Yeah, it's a good start to the day here. Here's Kava, by the way. This actually pulled back to its 50-day moving average after that super heated run, and it looks like it's trying to go back up here. JMIA getting mentioned in the chat here.
Oh, yeah.
Our chat. Tell you what, you guys, shout out to all of. There's been a bunch of you folks that have been trading this one. Jay, I know you've been on this for a long time. Shout out to all of you. I've actually watched JMIA for a considerable amount of time here, and I missed this last move, and I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. You guys were all. I mean, I should have just taken it off your guys' call. To be honest with you, SMCI coming back now.
There was a JMIA price target that I think y'all were going for. Okay, here we go with SNTG. Also, I think that was like 14. I still think that this can get up into the 18-19 handle JMIA because that's where the big consolidation supply zone is.
Okay.
SNTG, we're getting up to our 385 level I was mentioning. Just outside of that right now. I think get about 5 cents off from that. So if we want to see it break through this consolidation here that we were just talking about a moment ago, and if it does that, then 460 is the next upside target I have. The high from the this morning, I believe, yes, was 389. I'm sorry, 489. That would be great if we could break that, but I'd like to see. Get through some of these other levels I had mentioned first.
Look at NISN after that yank. Boy, this thing's all over the place. I actually am going to text that gentleman. Let's see. I can't. Do you remember? Did he tell us if he was all out?
I recall him saying that he keeps going in and out of this thing.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if he's in for this move. That's okay. Okay, cool. Good stuff here, though. HD continuing. Sweet.
And then, okay, so yeah, Gary is saying 14.
RX, this ripping out of the gate here.
So with JMIA, you guys, I get the price target was 14, and we're getting pretty close to there. We're about $1.20 away from that. I can see how that could be the high. My gut is telling me that I think it goes a little bit higher. I think you're going to. There's a good chance for 18. Maybe following a pullback. I see now that the RSI is very extended. I don't know that it goes to 14 before it pulls back. That'd be interesting. But I think if you get a pullback and it holds 10, then I think and it starts to turn around after 10. I think you could end up getting 19 at some point.
One thing to watch here is going to be this relationship that we outlined at the start here. IWM still holding higher right at its VWAP. If we take a look at the QQQ here, this is actually trying to retrace some of the down move from yesterday. If you look at some of the individual names, NVIDIA trying to go towards the highs, SMCI trying to go towards the highs. We already talked a little bit about Apple. That's actually trying to set some new highs here. Tesla was another one that was already moving up. Tesla here real strong. Looks like Nitin is on this one. So something to watch here. Something to watch to see if these tech names get bought back up. VIX is absolutely getting melted here today. 1234. That's down near the lows. Let's see here. Go ahead.
And there's some comments out of JP Morgan's earnings that may have something to do with the return of some of these Mag 7s coming back. There may be a little bit of traders spooked back into these positions when he was saying that inflation may remain stickier than expected. And then, of course, we had the PPI, which had a little bit higher numbers than were expected. So I think you might see some traders pile back into those Mag 7 just to be safe. But just keep that in mind.
NISN halted to the upside here, 1102. I mean, man, oh man, we were talking about this at 3 and 4.13. Now this thing's halted here at 11. Great call, Market Sniper. How's IMMP? I'm going to get it right. Okay, that really hasn't done much of anything yet here today.
Tesla getting the mention here.
SNTG going for some new highs here. Watch that 383 bust to the upside if we get it.
Tesla is the Mag 7 leader at the moment. NVIDIA is catching up to it pretty quick here, and then
Apple's got to be behind it too.
Apple's right there as well. Yeah, the only ones that are still down: Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft.
Now let's take a look at IWM. Lost the VWAP. Are we going to come back in here? Wow. What do you guys think? What does the group think? Anyone making any calls on these?
Well, just, don't stay trapped. If it's looking like it might sell off and you might lose, you might go red. Just exercise caution. Exercise those brains. You know how to trade these. Hopium doesn't work. We know that.
Yeah.
SNTG still holding above VWAP, trying to push up through that 385 area. Looking like it's really trying to do that right now. If it does break that, I'm still thinking that we might be traveling up towards the 460 with a bit of resistance on the way up and around the 425, 430 area. We going higher.
Atlas is fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Fired up. SPY is going higher, by the way, 558.40 at the moment.
All right, and here goes SNTG through that 385 level, looking for 4. Zap came back in. All those names that we were talking about this morning are looking a little weak. LGBN still looking okay, though. It's looking like this one is trying to make its second attempt of the morning to get to the pre-market highs. First stop, I think, would be 430, and if it can get higher than that, there's a level at 445 I think needs to get taken out. The pre-market highs for LGBN this morning are at 456.
Let me take a look at LGBN. I know we looked at that briefly here. Oh my gosh, here we go.
Oh, I just literally took my eyes off it. Okay, so 430 right there. There's and 425. Got a couple of sell orders to get through. About 28,000 orders or shares to chew through.
Jay, love hearing this. JMI, amazing. I'm going to get called out today. Okay. Were you selling upside calls against JMIA? Awesome. Awesome job there. That's been a really great try. I tell you that Crocs and Lantheus, just absolute bangers from you over the last couple of months here. That's really all you needed, right? You could have just done those 3 things and been fine over that period. Kind of avoided some of the everyday back and forth. Really good stuff. Really good stuff from our team here. Looking at some of the option flow, don't really see anything crazy out of options. I guess Carvana, what's that doing here? PanW calls, by the way. I think it was Jay's Life talking about PanW yesterday. That's actually continuing here today. Seeing some more calls come across the tape here today.
So Jonathan Cooper and I, we were having that discussion about Bitcoin, and he was saying that it looked like it was going to go higher. And I was pointing out what we were looking for in terms of height. It's almost at 58,000, folks. That was a great call by Jonathan. This is what we were looking for in terms of the breakout. So it's just $25 away from that 58,000 level. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff.
Mara running with that. CGBS, yep. This thing looks like this is kind of donezo. They haven't really done anything.
CLSK absolutely ripping. That's good news because I was picking some of that up yesterday too.
Go Steve, do you think Fridays are generally bullish, or does it make a difference, or doesn't it make a difference what day it is? Sometimes I actually think Fridays, when there seems to be, look at Apple. Sorry, let me just pull the Apple chart. It continues to rip to the highs here. When there's uncertainty out there, I actually view Fridays as bearish days. If you're an options trader, you're basically going to have your options decay over the weekend. If there's uncertainty over the weekend, or if there's a macro event going on that's liable to cause headlines, that could introduce even more uncertainty. Today, so far, however, feels, fairly bullish. I mean, I'm looking around here. A lot of stuff is trading up, especially the SPY and a lot of these tech names that have been darlings. Good thing that I'm seeing here, though, IWM not giving it up. So although we're getting move, like a regressive move here, or a regression back to the mean here, a retracement. God, I don't know why am I struggling so much? IWM not breaking down, holding up here, which I really like to see. Sorry, 13, go ahead.
No, you're excited, man.
Yeah, I am. You're damn right I am. We have more than just 6 stocks to trade. Let's go.
Right? That's one of the nicest things about. See, I think that's what we kind of need to convey here with everybody that doesn't want us to talk bearish about the market. We want to see this downside in the Mag 7 because all that money that's in just this handful of names is going to go elsewhere. They're not going to. It's not money leaving the market. It's money going elsewhere into the market. That's what we want. So we want some short-term bearishness in these names, and that's a good, healthy indicator of the market that it will go higher if we get a good correction. 5-10%, which is all I'm really anticipating at the moment. That would be great for the market, and that's what we need to see.
And that's what we are seeing.
That's what that's so far. That's what it's looking like. Yeah. Now, if it was only one day where we get that pullback and we're just going to keep on going to new highs, I don't think that's healthy. We need to see multiple days.
Wisdom, hello. Thanks for all of the positivity, Wisdom. I, too, hope you have a great weekend as well, my man.
Yeah, you do the same. Light one up for me.
SNTG broke beneath that VWAP, came in a little bit. How's Toyo doing? Is that just toying with everybody still? We'll see if this actually bottoms right here. That first pull down to 240. This actually might be a spot. We'll see here. It looks like it's actually going to roll over and kind of test this one. NISN halt down now. This one's going to be hard to trade. Yeah. I mean, that thing went above 12. Now it's halted below 10. I mean, oh my. Oh my. ACHR continuing to trade up here. You were saying that there was Joby news, right?
I don't know if there was news, but I know that these eVTOL names have been running this week. There might be news.
Joby Aviation after hours yesterday. We had a filing here. Looks like this was a sale of some shares.
I mean, ACHR is up more than Joby is. So
yeah, it sure is.
I don't know that it's necessarily Joby that's driving Archer. It might be more Archer driving Joby.
Fairchild here saying Joby completes landmark 523-mile hydrogen electric flight.
That's true. It's Archer may end up going up to 520.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that. That's not even that far away at this point.
It's not, but it's been a level that I've had here for a while. So, like years, I've had that level out there. And if you just put a horizontal line at 520 and go back to back to 2021, you can see how it's been support, and then it failed support and became resistance for a good period of time, all through 22, and just in 23, it broke out and became support again, and now it's been going back and forth between support and resistance. Now we're coming up to it as resistance again. So interesting to see what happens when we get there.
Yeah, that is a key level there.
And Lion Atlas, absolutely. REIT stocks all are going up, and there's also the possibility that we might see a return to commercial real estate. We were having that discussion yesterday. I wish I could give you more context on it, but it's a long discussion that we had, and I don't want to chew up so much time with it when we have stocks to trade.
He should join the happy hour is what you're saying.
I think he should.
IVP here at the highs. We'll see if this actually breaks out to some new highs here. Let's see if I've got that. 720 was that. There it goes. Bang.
Nice. I'll just say that if Lion Atlas joined happy hour, that'd be an awesome person to have with us.
Yeah, that would be a sweet ad. It would be a sweet ad. Toyo here. Maybe we're curling back towards the VWAP on Toyo. 20 cents here.
Toyo the yo-yo. That's a good one.
NYCB. How is Amazon? We haven't really checked on Amazon. Not really sure why it requires all of those emojis. It's not really doing much here. But
all the Mac 7s are coming back. There's only two that are red. It's Meta and Microsoft.
Yep. And IWM trying to go higher. I just want to see that continued rotation. I just want to see that continued rotation. I feel like that would be really good for us.
I believe it would be.
Look at IVP. That popped through that 720, went to 780, 788. The high. Oh my gosh, IVP is ripping here. Wes, you on that one? Yeah, those IWM, those smaller cap stocks definitely like lower rates. Lion.
It's halted now. IVP.
Yep, halted here 785. I think 785 on that halt.
I don't want to say that this is what's going to happen, but what I'd be looking for out of this halt is a little bit more upside. It looks like it wants to push to the high from a couple of days ago, which is at 946.
Wes not chasing here. I think that's a smart move. Neither am I. NISN, by the way, this is now halted still, but it's now at its VWAP. Curious to see how this reacts when this opens, to be quite honest. There it is. It is just open just as we speak, and lower we go here.
Well, Line Atlas, it's a 1 hour review that Benzinga Pro community members jump on the call with, and with all of us, and we just kind of talk about what we've seen, what we're looking at in the market, what's going on internationally. In some cases, we have some really smart gentlemen and ladies in there that are, I guess we'll call them industry experts. I guess we could.
I would say that. Yeah, I would say they're definitely experts.
They, we ask questions, we have a discussion, and at the end of that, after I've taken enough notes, I put a synopsis in the happy hour chat.
Here, you know what we can do here. This will give you guys an idea. Let's just real quick open this chat here. We'll go to happy hour. We'll take a look here. So as 13 said, we do this every day, but here's a sample. Look at the notes. That's I think one of the biggest ads here, 13, was the addition here of the chat channel that with the recap that you do. You can see here, we always start the discussion off with what's going on with the broader markets. So 13's got some notes in there. That discussion actually bled to the Qs and the IWM. Some political stuff in there. The one thing I will say is that this group is very, very mature. We are able to have discussions about what's going on in politics without it devolving into name calling and a whole bunch of garbage that's not helpful to anybody. We have people on both sides of the aisle, of course. And then there's individual stock discussions. So we discussed HTCR, Sphere, EXPI, NVIDIA, and then all of the banks. So nice little recap here about what was going on there.
Yeah, and when we get into these discussions about the politics, we're trying to figure out what's going to move the markets in one direction or the other, or how the markets are going to react to who becomes president, or if the market's pricing in a certain presidency. We're not really so much discussing who's going to win, or if Democrats bad or Democrats good, or Republicans bad, Republicans good. We're not into any of that. We're trying to find trade ideas, and we're trying to make money. So if that warrants a discussion about certain political figures and their policies, that's what we're going to discuss. And we're
going to keep it focused on that. Yeah. By the way, Reddit spiking here. I'll tell you what, I was completely off sides on this one. I was thinking Reddit's probably going to trade down. I don't understand how this thing makes all this money. Blah blah blah. Reddit has continued to move higher here.
Yeah, ad revenue in this one is. I know I posted when we were having a discussion before it even IPO'd how this company does make money, but I think there's also a bit of a meme stonk attachment to this as well, because this is the platform that got it all started. This is where it all began. Yeah. It was on Reddit through Wall Street Bets, and I don't think Roy and Kitty was on Reddit. I think he was just a YouTuber, right?
LCFY here. I know that this was on deck yesterday. It's had a monster day yesterday. I don't really see anything here today. I mean, it's kind of stuck under its VWAP. We'll see if this gets rolling here. But Smita, yeah, there were people actively trading this yesterday. So. Danielle, you were saying that 13 and I work well together. Well, just kind of given our discussion here, I met 13 through the happy hour. Like, he just started showing up when we started it, and then he visited the office in Detroit in real life. Yeah. We actually met each other in real life. So this whole thing, like, as soon as I realized that I needed some more help here, I was like, well, I know exactly who I'm going to ask. And I believe his response is, oh, hell yeah. I believe that's how you answered that when I asked you. So I'm really good. It's really good to hear that feedback. Really good to hear that. We're trying to come up with something that is, helpful, educational, and yet still entertaining. And it's a difficult needle to thread.
Yeah, and I'm no Betsy Ross.
You're welcome, Smita. No problem. Yeah, see, like Mufe here, there's no value add to that at all. And that's likely to incite people. That's the type of stuff that we generally stay away from.
Soundhound popped up to that 575 level that I had mentioned earlier this morning. It came back in. Now it's trying again. If this does actually successfully break through 575 this time, I'll be looking towards 650 as the next upside target.
It looks like this is ready to go here. IVP is open. That actually went higher here above 850, pulling back now, but this isn't over. Maybe we get another pop to the highs here, IVP.
VSTM looking interesting, says WIS.
Indeed.
Oh, okay. This is
indeed
curling off of the bottom of a big sell-off that it had. Or what was the story here with this one?
There was also a big gap down. So that gap's at 5, and that gap fills up to 11. Good Lord, what a gap in there if we can get that.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Trying to see what the news was here that pulled this down on the 24th of May.
Look at SMCI. This would have been a great trade.
Oh, yeah.
This would have been a great day trade. SMTG. That's right at the VWAP. Let's see if this 350 level falls here. Nope, rejected right there. QURE. This was another one from yesterday. 977 here.
Was that one coming back too?
I mean, that just took out its intraday highs. Now, yesterday's high, 993. So maybe this thing's making a run here at 10. Actually increasing volume here as well on QURE. One worth watching here. I'm taking a look at the scanner to see what else we have off the scanner. GOEV, that really that did keep going here. Canoe. Carmen, are you still in this GOEV? I can't remember. I think that this was something that you really liked. Lucid took 4, by the way. That's sweet. Oh, I got to get the right ticker in there.
Yeah, and some of these other names have been trading this morning, starting to look a little weak. Got some of them coming back in a little bit.
Pharmaceutical. STC. Nah. NISN, what's that doing here? Actually, it looks like this is trying to curl and move.
All right, so IVP now coming back down.
Oh my God.
Looking for support from VWAP. What's up?
Seeing
Bumble.
a massive trade here on Bumble. Okay, so I've got here. Let me go to Pro and I'll show you guys this. Bumble in the unusual option activity scanner, the 9 puts that expire August 16th, someone bought 64,237 of them. They spent $2.891 million on this one position. 9 puts here on Bumble. Here's your chart for Bumble.
What's the date on their options?
It is the 9 expiring 8/16 of this year.
So that's 10 days after their earnings.
That is a massive buy there.
That's 10 days after their
trade.
Yeah, that's 10 days after their earnings. I wonder if that person knows something about their revenue. I'd be curious.
Place your bets, folks. Place your bets. No position here for Bumble for me. At least not yet.
Looks like
let me take a look at this chain though.
Yeah, it looks like Wells Fargo downgraded them. So I guess somebody's being a contrarian too. Anyway.
I wonder if that was part of a spread. Let me see.
Palantir. Yeah, it's
No, it's
still
just
hanging in there. Yeah, Palantir been going a little bit sideways since it broke over 2750. I'd like to see this get up to 2950 before it actually rolls over, but it either needs another catalyst to go higher or just needs to come in, because this thing had a really good run recently. I'd say maybe if it comes down to close to 2550 or 25 even, that'd be a decent pullback in preparation to go higher. But I think this thing is looking a little bit tired from its run. We'll see.
So I still have no position on this Bumble thing, but I'm definitely watching it. And part of me is wondering if those puts were sold or bought.
Let's see. So that was right to 58,000 Bitcoin, and it's come back in. Hasn't completely sold off yet, so I would think that maybe it's going to try and push through 58,000. No guarantee that it does. Looking like it's slowed down a little bit, but if it does break through that, then I guess the next target I would have is going to be that's another $1,000 higher, 59,000. Don't really have anything in between.
Jay, nice job on TGTX. Good morning, Judge. Great to see you here this morning. Hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Good to be in the audience and not a player in some of the bipolar names. Amen to that, brother. I mean, amen to that. Costco here, this was getting mentioned earlier, FK, Costco recapturing VWAP. This is an interesting, Costco moved down on that news of the price increase. Initially it popped, then went and moved down.
Well, I think it was already overcooked.
I might be late. Did you catch Wayne's question here? Are you still in UWMC?
Oh, yes.
Looking strong with lower rates from Powell? I just want to make sure we get that addressed. I missed that when he asked it first.
I've had UWMC for a while. There have been times where I've shaved just a little bit off of it just to take profit in case it, the whole rate sentiment went negative on me. But I'm still positive in that. I'm having a great time owning it. They still pay a great dividend. I do like UWMC, but I do have some still. Yeah, I'm holding on to it.
AKAN rejected.
So let's see. Trying to get, I know that Costco went down, and I don't necessarily think it was on the membership fees. I think that's more of a positive for the stock because it's more revenue.
Look, I'm telling you, first of all, it's $5 for a standard membership. That's the increase. $10 for the executive level. I have an executive level membership. It ends up costing me nothing every year that I have it because the reward that they mail me is more than the cost of the thing. So to me, this is a non-issue. Like I don't even bat an eye at the $10 increase. I would imagine that's the case for most members.
Yeah, and this is, I think I even made a point about how this stock has been up it's been up a lot since this year started. Let me get an exact number on that because I made a point about this. It's up almost 30. Well, it is up 36%, and that's still even after it corrected. So just this year alone, it's up 36%. It had a correction back in March.
Hey,
what's up?
I just sold the first tranche of this swing that I was massively underwater on. I took this. This was, I think, a couple weeks ago at this point. This here. Let me go to a bigger chart here real quick. Anyway, sold 1/3 of my position here. Ticker VAL. I have the 75 calls that expire a week from today. So bang. First third out here with some gains. Let's go. God, I thought I was going to be taking a loss on this. Let me show you here real quick. 13, go. If you got something, go ahead. It's going to take me a sec to cue this up.
Oh, no, I'll just finish up what I was saying with Costco. So yeah, it ran 36% just this year to date alone. And it still ended up having an 11.5% correction in the earlier this year. So really strong stock. This probably needs to cool off a bit. I'd be looking for some support, or at least what happens when it gets to the 50-day SMA, which I currently have at 822.97.
So real quick, I'm going to go into this Val thing, but real quick, Todd, I appreciate this more than you know. Bumble, notice that it had 71,577 in the open interest in the 9 August 19. Looks like a large calendar spread. That was my first thought, Todd. My first thought was, I wonder if this is part of a spread, because that would make sense. Thinkorswim actually does a really good job. If you look at the option time and sales in the option chain, there's a column there that says condition. And a lot of the times, if it is a part of the spread, it says part of a spread. And I'm not seeing it for this particular trend. That was the first thing I checked, because I had the same thought that you did. So maybe it's just not being reported. Yeah, see, spread. Maybe it's just not being reported, or maybe it's incorrect. Maybe you're right, but I looked at that at first, didn't see that. So just kind of looking into it. Again, no position here. I'm not chasing that or anything, just calling it out because it was noticeable. Real quickly here on Val, this was looking pretty good. This day right here, where we had a lot of really good buying volume, this was kind of curling, looking like it was going to maybe move back towards those highs. Again, saw a number of really big option sweeps on the chain that day. Actually had a buddy that watches options that also reached out about this one. And I said, you know what? I'll take some calls here right at the end of the day. Well, that was right here. Look what happened on Monday. This thing got absolutely slammed right back down to a support. I said to myself, okay, I might be in trouble. And it was minus 50% in one day. I ended up adding a little bit. We got a bit of a bounce, and then it rolled over again. And I was just like, you know what? That's what I get for buying short dated options. And then here we go. So now that I'm out some of that, I'm actually going to try to hold some of these into next week and trim into next week. We keep trading up here today. I'll lighten a little bit more here today and book those gains.
Yeah,
but this is another good day in a row. 13. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's been another good day for me. I'm glad that you're having a good one. I just want to address what Elon was saying here about the data breach and news on AT&T and Snowflake. I think that is old news, because I remember hearing about this already, and I think this is just them addressing it. So I don't know that we're necessarily going to get as much weakness as we on those two names as we did when we first heard about this. I still think that you might be right about the buy the dip opportunities, but just bear in mind that once you read into what actually was taken on AT&T side, it's a little less concerning, but still concerning at the same time, because the breach happened. I think Snow stands to lose more from this, since they were the ones that were supposed to be stopping the attack. So we'll just keep that in mind. But I think this is just a little bit of old news, and they're just addressing it. So it should be a small hit that the companies take today on that, in my opinion.
Lynn, another $10 on Tesla here, taking advantage of this crazy market and discipline and focus. Awesome. That's what we want to see here.
It looked like things are starting to slow down a little bit.
Indeed. The market though. So let's take a look. Let's roll through some of these indices, because this is one of the big things that I was going to take a look at here. SPY continuing to trade up here. It's really kind of stopped its push, but it's holding here. That looks really good. Take a look at the Qs here. That's come in a little bit, but again, still maintaining higher. But the big news here, IWM still holding up. So we're seeing, maybe we're not seeing as much selling in some of the darling tech names, but we're still seeing some of the buying here in the IWM names. This is staying afloat. You love to see that. Lord Ryan, your boat in Mackinac. If I had a boat that I could take around or near Mackinac Island, you guys would see so many pictures and videos. I'd be inviting people. That would be something else. I don't have that. I don't have a boat. I don't have a boat here. Larry mentioning Rivian. What's going on with Rivian here today? Oh my God, look at this staircase, Larry. This is actually a decent pullback here to the VWAP. Let me see if my coworker James.
Maybe it goes to 20.
Maybe he's in here listening. James sometimes lurks in the background. I'm slacking him right now. We'll see.
It's very, very extended here on the daily. The RSI is almost at 80. That doesn't mean it couldn't push a little bit more. I have the 500-day SMA just beneath 20, so I'm kind of thinking that it might try to get up to 20 just on these the placement of these moving averages. Great breakout of the 200-day SMA on this this move earlier this last month, actually, when it did it. No, I'm sorry, this month it did it. Just earlier this week. But yeah, that's all these EV names and solar names and everything are running on the prospect of rate cuts. So LEU is the only producer of uranium. Since we're talking about all these data centers and needing electricity, and LEU is currently on touching its 200-day SMA, trying to decide if it wants to burst through it or not. Maybe if it doesn't get through it this time and it comes back in the next visit up, it could. And, I still think that, a great mention with LEU, but
there he is.
Great mention with LEU, but I think, nuclear, well, it's likely going to be a big future producer of electricity. We still have, gas and natural gas to look forward to as well. I still think that's going to be in play for electrical generation.
Real quick here, folks. I didn't ask you for permission, James, so sorry in advance if I'm not supposed to do this. James, definitely a Rivian bull, a Rivian holder. I know James follows the market every single day. Definitely follows the stocks that he is interested in with a very, very sharp attention to detail. Palantir also on that list for those of you that also really like Palantir. James hangs out with us a lot. He often will stay kind of in the back, but if you guys have questions, I know James likes talking about this. So James, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot here. But I would imagine that you'd love to have discussions with our community about Rivian, Palantir, and pretty much anything else you're interested in, right? Just kind of throwing that out there. I know we get a lot of questions about some of these stocks. We do have some people here that follow it really, really closely, even if I personally do not.
So, Jonathan Cooper, you wanted me to look at HLVX. You got an alert on the volume spike.
That was the one that really gapped down recently.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how this could be a trade, but I don't know. I don't know what the trade could possibly be here, because the whole down move was based upon the failure of its clinical trials. The Nest in one trial study, it didn't meet their primary endpoints, so they had to scrap the entire thing. That's just straight up money lost. There might be some trades in here, but I don't know that I would ever want to hold this. So this is definitely just a very quick day trade kind of thing for me. I don't know what you're after here with this one, but just quick in and out is all I would think to do with this one. I don't know that this is worth hanging on to. It's like all the stuff that we were trading this morning is trying to turn around and come back. So at least some of them are.
Today is already a successful day for me.
Oh yeah, same.
It is already a successful day for me. We got the makings of a good one here. Toyo, I'm not actually going to give up on this one yet either. This might be one of your afternoon pops through that VWAP there. We shall see.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. It looks like IVP is trying to break out. We need to see the price clear 887 before that happens. And I believe I was mentioning I had mentioned some level for this one. I'm sorry, I can't recall what it was. Anyway.
Really quick question here. Michael, great to see you, Michael. Love that Joker avatar, by the way. Ryan, is RVol based off 5-day, 10-day, or 30-day average volume, or at least most commonly used? Okay, well, a couple of things here, Michael. I'm going to address this real quick. 13, if you need to interrupt, please do it, because I am, at this point, not paying attention to the market. I'm just kind of rolling here. So first of all, in the scan that I use, the one that you guys see, the one that I'm calling plays off of every time, let me be very clear about what I'm using. I'm using Arvol 5M 30D. So the look back period, what you're asking here is 30D. But the question that you're asking here about just Arvol kind of in general, I think that the more well-known Arvol is a daily Arvol measurement. So let me go to all, and actually let's go ahead and type in Arvol, and this will show you all of the different filters that are in Pro. Now, the one I think you're asking about is this top one here that just says Arvol. It doesn't have the 5M, the 1M, or you know, those measurements in there. It's Arvol 90D. Now, I think that the generic relative volume, probably 90 days, right? That is going to be 3 months, a quarter, however you look at it. To me, that seems to be the common one. I believe this is the one used in the FinViz screener by default. But again, just know the difference here. This one, we're talking about a daily Arvol measurement, look back periods 90 days. Some of the other filters available to you in Pro are for intraday. It's a good question. Let me know if I answered it for you.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to trying to find what's moving by looking at a relative volume scanner, I'm not necessarily using an average volume. I'm just looking to see what the change was between the day before and today. So, and that's kind of, and that's a very simple way of just finding out what's beginning to move. I used to go on FinViz and just look for relative volume that was 1.5 times higher than it was the day before, and it would give me a whole bunch of different charts that I could then just go through and see which one looks like it has the better setup. And that's, you know, that's just a very, very simple way of just kind of scanning around, finding for something that might move. And then you can then just go in the next day and with the ones that you think look the best, have your levels set and to see what happens. That has worked out pretty well in the past. Jay Rice saying that there's some bios that are, there's a guy that's highly paid to short these and write up trash reports. So just, you know, keep that in mind. I think that's really, really great information right there.
Yeah, so I've actually followed Adam for a long time. So your contention here is that he doesn't actually do good research and instead just does paid hit pieces. I'm not putting that on you. I'm asking you if that's the case here. He seems knowledgeable, at least to me, when I'm reading through some of his reports. But honestly, I mean, that's like an ant walking across a page of a James Joyce book and being like, "Yeah, I understand that." I mean, I'm not into the whole medical thing and drug development and all that, so I don't really know. I can't really fact check him.
So here's I figured out what it was, and I was talking about with IVP about a certain level. That was the high from a couple of days ago. That was 946. Well, we just had a huge spike, went up to 947 and halted. So we just got there, folks. That target worked out. Hopefully you took profit. If you're still in this one, I'm not saying that you're going to get killed, but you know, just be careful when this opens. I don't know which direction it's going to go, but we hit our target here of that high from a couple of days ago. Might go higher, might sell off from here. Trade it how you will. Just be careful. This is a halt. They can get pretty wild out of the halt.
By the way, here, shout out to Zoltan. Shout out to Zoltan here for tracking this down real quick. IREN, this is a stock. I believe Smoked Tuna called this yesterday. I can't remember. Even regardless, there was a short report that came out to us, and IREN has actually responded to this in an exclusive to Benzinga. So I'm going to go ahead and read you this real quick. Sorry, 13, for getting in the way here. Iris Energy, in response to Culper Research short report, tells Benzinga, quote, "As a public company, we are limited in how much we can say about reports of a certain nature. We encourage debate and value intellectually honest discourse. However, not all engagement meets those standards." Goes on to say, "We remain focused on our growth to 30 EHS." I don't know. I don't know what that measurement stands for. I'll figure it out here. I think that's a hash rate. Anyway, of mining capability this year, serving our AI cloud service customers and pursuing monetization opportunities for our broader power and land portfolio. So it seems like they're kind of responding to this saying, hey, I don't know. There's not a whole lot we can say here. I'll say this, as far as short reports go, if there is actually things that they can't comment on, I appreciate kind of a generic comment like this where they're like, hey, look, we acknowledge this, but we really can't talk about some of this. Zoltan, I'd be curious to know if we get any more information on this. If you take a look at the IRIN chart today, this is straight up today. Straight up today. Just no chill in this. And we came from about 13. Sorry, 13.
Oh, no worries.
That's serendipitous.
What I'm looking at right now is Archer, ACHR, is getting really close to that 520 level that I had mentioned. My expectation is that if we do reach that, it's probably going to turn around and go lower. Ultimately, later on, maybe not today, but later on next week or in the future, I think it'll end up breaking over 520, but I'm not sure we'll see that today. I don't think it has the volume.
Real quick, Smita is asking, Ryan, do you have an educational webinar for pre-market mover stocks, how to buy and trade them with confidence? Most of those stocks are full of risk if you buy and hold. So this is a really good question. So no, I don't. First of all, the risk that you're talking about, that's going to be inherent in this process. We're actually selecting stocks that have a higher risk parameter because the potential reward is also higher. So that's kind of baked in to what we're doing to begin with. The confidence aspect of this, boy, that changes with the wind, it seems, especially with me. I mean, when the market is really kind of in a spot that makes a lot of sense, I actually am able to do fairly well with some of those movers that I pull off the list. But if you've been around here for the past couple of months, when the market is really kind of doing something with, at least that I feel strange, it's been hit or miss. There have been good days and there have been plenty of bad days in there. The biggest thing that I can say to you right now is that almost always the better target is going to be the one that has technicals that make sense as well as a catalyst. We were just talking about Zap. And I mean, look, you take a look at the chart here. Zap's had a huge move, but several of these days here, there wasn't really any news telling us. So really the only thing that you would have been able to do for a day trade there is just kind of move on some of those technicals there. I would say if you're struggling with confidence, the thing that is probably tied to the most is the risk that you're allowing. So maybe start with position size in there and see if it makes it easier for you to trade those.
Most of what we're trading, like these low float,
look at IVP,
low value, low value penny names. They are very risky, and there's no intention here to really hold these at all. IVP blasted right through. So I mean, hopefully y'all are paying yourselves. But when it comes to these names that we're trading, these really aren't ones that we want to hold anyway. Some of them might be, and that requires a little bit more research, whether you do it on your behalf or you just go with what we say, which I don't always recommend. Do your own research. Look for the names that actually have money, that are making it and have revenue, net income, that don't have that their debt is manageable if they are a big company, and if they have very little debt, that's even better. Make it, only hold stocks that actually make sense. I wouldn't hold a lot of these names that we're trading because they're junk. They're frankly junk.
And we know that going in.
Mm-hmm.
We know that going in. The one thing here this is worth mentioning, I guess, right here. The one thing we're talking about this rotation into some of these smaller names, rotation maybe out of some of these tech names and into some of the smaller names. We'll check on some of these. Look at SPY continuing to trade higher here. Mm-hmm. Here are your Qs continuing to trade higher here. IWM still maintaining its highs. One of the things I heard from one of my sources yesterday was that hedge funds were kind of caught offside by this rotation into small caps. And look, again, this is coming from one of my sources. Maybe it's wrong, but if that's the case, you could look for a several day move here. And frankly, so far, we're getting some pretty good moves here today on a summer Friday. VIX getting melted into the ground, 1222 here. Look for that to bounce when we get into an 11 handle. Maybe we got another session or two of this rotation here. So if there is any type of squeeze effect, giddy up. I'll take it, especially since most of my portfolio is small caps, for heaven's sake.
ASTS is getting a mention first by Jay Rice, and then I saw it was also getting mentioned by KB. So this one I've talked about before, and we've traded it before as well. This is the one that's sending the satellite network up into space that AT&T and Verizon are going to ultimately use. They already have a contract with this company. I've been just nibbling on this under 12. So every time it sells or it takes off like this, I tend to sell a little bit because I think it's going to end up coming back under 12 every time. It's kind of has a pattern of doing that. If it starts to really move away from 12, then I'll just let it ride. They are going to be launching those satellites into space. It's supposed to happen sometime either this month or next month, unless there's another delay. But for the time being, I think that the trade here is to just slowly build a position under 12, and then just when it gets over and starts ripping like it's doing today, just kind of lighten your position into this movement. That's the way I've been doing it lately.
Sell into strength, buy weakness. Where's Tuna when we need him? Tuna has been saying on this show for weeks, buy weakness, sell strength.
Mm-hmm. So IVP, I don't like this upper shadow that it's got going on here. So when I mentioned this is where you'd probably want to pay yourself and it was over 10, that was not an empty, I don't want to say suggestion, but it was not an empty comment. It's because we were concerned out of that halt that we could see something like this spike up and then it just comes right back in. Now, I don't know what's going to happen from here. We could go higher, but right now, I'm not feeling too confident with the way this upper shadow is on here. We're about to get into the next 5-minute candle, so we'll see what happens.
OKLO here ramping pretty good. Dustin's asking, how can I post to Wall Street bets if I play smart, though? I don't know anything about Wall Street bets other than the cool looking dude avatar that they've created. I don't know. Yeah, OKLO. I actually tried this, Lance. I tried this a couple weeks ago. I feel like it didn't really move. It was a small loss. It wasn't really anything terrible, but it just didn't work. Seems to be working now. We'll see if it can get above 859. That really seems to be the spot.
Archer Aviation came within 2 cents of my 520 target, and it looks like it's thinking about turning around. So if this starts to go down, we'll look to see if VWAP can maybe provide some support. But for me, I think I don't want to say this is how it's going to go today. It might just come back in and push higher later. But 520 has been such an important historical level that I think we might see just for today this be a resistance area. So just keep that in mind.
Really quickly here, and actually, let me go to a different chart here. Did any of you guys? I talk about how the swing action has really kind of been working more recently. Did any of you guys still are any of you folks still in PWP? Remember, we took this as a swing long live here on this show when Gottheimer ended up buying this. This stock pays a dividend as well. We actually had earnings that I can't even believe this. We got this on this day right here, May 3rd. This thing sold all the way down to the 200 at 12. I was adding it at 13. This now ripping higher here, 18. This swing is actually really kind of cooking. Did anyone else take this? I am still in this one. We get performance like this, I might just sit on this one and kind of collect the dividend. I've already been paid one dividend from this name. So not a huge one, but this swing has been working, and this is cool too because all we did was we took this because Gottheimer never loses in the market, and sure enough, we're now like 4 points higher than the blended price that we have. So PWP, this swing's still rocking here. Wondering if anyone's still in this one.
Let's see who said that. Fairchild, thanks for the info on ACHR. I didn't catch that, so I'm looking into it now. That might change the whole thing about if 520 is going to be the resistance level or not. But let me just find some more information here. I mean, that's great if they are going to sign on with Southwest because they already got United. Southwest, I think, would be their second one. Yeah, let me just look into this because it might be better than 520, but take that with a grain of salt. I still think 520 is a really strong resistance level. It's great news, but there's no money tied to it yet. It's just
Joe saying you said it, and the guy that recommended PWP is never wrong. Hey, look, man, we'll do whatever we can. We'll do whatever we can to scratch some dough out of that.
I don't look at IVP.
Still, what's that? Which one?
Look at IVP. It's kind of going sideways right now. Still, trying to decide if it wants to go higher or if it's going to be done. It's trying to push, but I'd still exercise caution on this one. Wow. I just have this feeling like it's going to push up higher and then it's just going to knife and take everybody with it.
Well, let's see what we get at the top end of this range here. 1085. Oh, there we go. Busted right through it. Nice job, 13. Nice job.
I have no position.
Okay,
and I was saying that this would be a good spot to pay yourself on the way up. I still maintain that. I don't know how high this thing goes. Could just keep on ripping, but if you're still in this when it decides it's done going higher, I'd be very, very sad for you. I don't want you guys to lose money.
Real quick here, Glenn saying never say never. Actually, this is true. Never say never. I'm disappointed though. Never Say Never Again, arguably the worst Bond film.
And there it is. Oh my gosh.
What?
The IVP, it popped up to 1112 and it pulled.
There's the knife you were waiting for. Got to be quick.
That's just what I was worried about. This is why I think that first pop when we got that upper shadow I was complaining about was probably where you wanted to be done. If you caught anything in that last move, great on you. But this is the thing that I was worried about with this price action. So, hey, trade how you guys are going to trade.
Good morning, Shannon. Long time no see. What are you guys doing this lovely July day? Well, we are actually printing this morning, Shannon. We are printing here, having a really nice day back to back here ahead of the weekend. Hopefully, you're doing well as well.
CMMD. We were talking to somebody. I forget who was mentioning this earlier this morning. This is pushing up through its VWAP at the moment.
CMMD. Mm-hmm. Did you see what I did there? I did CNMD. Lasai.
All right. What else?
So real quickly on those Bumble calls, asked one of my other option guys here what he thought about that. Took a look at it and got back to me. I'll share it with you. Came in on the bid and it's a block. So I don't think those that big Bumble thing was part of a sweep. Did come in on the bid. However, right before it, there was a sweep at the ask. So I'm guessing those calls were bought, but that's kind of what's going on there.
GNRC has been pushing up all morning, and it just had a contention with the high from May 22nd. This is looking like it's trying to break out. It's just that the RSI is a little extended. If you were buying this one for the hurricane trade, I think you've already done great. You decide on when you're going to take profits. But this has been a really good move. I don't know what necessarily is going to happen if we're going to push up and keep going with how extended the RSI is. But just consider where you decided you were going to take profits and stick with that. I think your trade plan for what you want to do with GNRC, if you're in it, would be better than what I might be thinking. Because for me, I'd be taking profit. So stick with your guys' plan.
Good stuff there. Good stuff there. Generic, this has actually been a pretty huge mover here.
I told everyone to sell and cause a knife. Maybe. I didn't tell everybody to sell. I said those upper shadows look really bad. We could see some selling here. Take your profits because it looks bad. Maybe I did tell somebody to sell. Okay.
13, you're moving markets now, baby. That's where we're at.
I don't want to. I don't want the job. I don't want
TOYO trading back up towards its VWAP here. We'll see if it gets there. NISN did curl and move through its VWAP. This thing's been all over the place here today. Spread a little bit too, but wow, great trade.
IVP trying to push again. If this keeps doing it, it might go higher if it keeps successfully pushing up. It's just it's also going to probably end up knifing again like it did just a second ago. So these trades in IVP they're starting to get a little bit riskier. But like I said, trade how you will. I don't want to be the one that's telling you to get out and cause knives like Wiz says I did.
Oh, take that.
I'm just kidding.
Take that.
Just protect yourselves. If you see you're getting a great profit in some of these names and you think it's time to exit, then just exit.
Yeah, I mean, don't be afraid to take profits. We're going to have more opportunity in this. So
yeah,
13, I'm going to step away for 1 sec here real quick. I'm going to leave Tesla up.
Yeah, I agree, Webcoin. If I can move markets, then we definitely need to talk. Maybe I shouldn't talk. I don't want to move markets. I don't want to be the one that everybody blames when something gets pulled. Like, come on. IVP pushing up again. Let's see if this happens for a third time where it just creates another upper shadow. It's looking a little bit better this time, so we'll see. But what else? I know you're just kidding with me, man. Did a bit of work yesterday on the water stock one to fit the bill. CWT, AWK, WTRG. So I'm not too familiar with CWT, but I do know AWK and WTRG. I do like both of those. Soundhound pushing up 11%. Yeah, this one we were watching earlier. Looks like we're getting a whipping around with IVP. So there's that. But let me pull up Soundhound real quick because I know we were talking about that one. So looks like it's getting support from that breakout spot that we had at 575. It came back in and just, got pretty close, not exactly to 575, but it got pretty close, got some support. The next move up here, it's trying to push through 6, and I still maintain that 650 is the upside target here. We just need to get through 6 and push up.
Which stock is this? I'm sorry.
This is Soundhound, S-O-U-N.
Soundhound. There he is. Good morning, Bonjour.
Hey.
Happy Friday. Smoke Tuna, someone in the chat said that you were sad because France lost or something like that. Say it ain't so. Any day above dirt is a good day. Amen, Jay. Amen. Well, better still if you're on the golf course. Am I right?
Yeah, I think all the miners would agree.
Oh, yeah.
ASML still pumping. I kind of want to think
Zap going for its VWAP.
I kind of want to think that ASML is going to move well as long as TSM moves well. And I think then TSM just become another $1 trillion company.
And TSM has a very, very similar chart to ASML intraday here.
Yeah. Look at IVP still trying to do something about going higher, and it might, but man, those upper shadows just are indicators that you try to play this, you're going to get killed in it. But hey, maybe this is just consolidating. It's trying to go higher because I see an EMA trying to cross VWAP. That usually is bullish. So maybe there is a trade here. I don't know. I'm not trading this one. You guys trade it how you want. Just be careful. We've already seen how this can knife.
Rivian, more highs here, more call buying too on Rivian. I wouldn't chase this move, but that's what's going on. Nike, I'm seeing some Nike calls come in here. Nike actually trying to bounce. We'll see.
Good.
What do you guys think of that Jaylen Brown Nike Olympic team issue? There's something else going on there, folks.
I haven't caught that.
So
just looking at
go
Zap
ahead.
right
Go
now.
ahead, and I'll give you a real quick primer on it when you're done.
Yeah, just looking at Zap at the moment because it was getting mentioned. It looks like it's trying to get back up to VWAP, which I currently have at 1260. Not looking like it has enough volume, but it still could. I'm not trying to discount it. I'm not sure how high it goes beyond VWAP.
Yeah, and I mean the trade here was a curl back to the VWAP. So to that point here, I mean, no problem selling or at least lightening there. Ryan, you read everything. I thought you didn't see my comment about smoked tuna. Here's the one thing you folks should know. So I do my best to glance at the chat because one of my primary goals here is to incorporate your activity into the show. I think that the show is just going to be better if more and more people are participating, and I'll try and call that out and enforce that when it happens. But the one thing to also keep in mind here is that a lot of times, especially when stuff is busy, a lot of the stuff is scrolling by. So I may catch a chunk and then not associate it to who said it. And then maybe I don't mention it because I don't want to not cite somebody or cite somebody incorrectly or something like that. So that's often the case here. But yeah, I actually forgot that was you, frankly. Okay, Nike. So let's go over this here real quick. We talked about, I actually wasn't even aware of all of these details until after work yesterday. I was actually watching one of the sports programs, and they were kind of talking about this a little bit more in depth. And I was unprepared. So here's the story. First of all, we all know how Nike is intertwined with basketball, right? Nike also, one of its marketing, the ways that this company works is that it markets that its athletes are the best performers, the fastest athletes, et cetera, et cetera. And they wear Nike shoes. Nike has a deal with the Olympics. A lot of the Olympic athletes are going to be, dressed up in Nike garb. The men's national basketball team, the professional basketball team, I can't remember who it was, Durant or so. Who was it that was sent home for injury? Someone was sent home for injury. I can't remember who the player was. And so they fill it in with another player. They picked Derek White, who's a Nike athlete and plays for the Celtics. But the reason that this is controversial is because Jaylen Brown, who was the finals MVP, arguably the best player on that team, even ahead of Jason Tatum this year, was still available. And it turns out that Jaylen Brown is not a Nike athlete, and in fact has said things publicly about how, Nike's no one to talk about anything human rights related because of the deals that they do with China and the forced slave labor and some of the child labor issues that they've had in the past. So Jaylen Brown's kind of been outspoken about this. He's clear, with all due respect to Derek White, Jaylen Brown is a better basketball player in all facets of the game. The United States team would be a better team with Jaylen Brown on it, and he's just not selected to it. So to me, there's something else going on here. Now, I don't know if that's going to end up bleeding through on the stock. And I think that in the more near term, you're going to have opportunities for this stock to pop as Nike athletes are highlighted at the Paris Games coming up next month. Just my thought. That's kind of what I'm going here. No position here for Nike. If I did buy this here, given what we're looking at, I'd be looking at a long on Nike. So there you go.
Here goes IVP trying to go higher. Just be careful with this one, folks. We've already seen the knife a couple of times. CLSK coming down off the 1577. What's Bitcoin doing right now? Still kind of trying to work on getting up through 58,000. They already had a couple of tests there today. Maybe we get a little bit more push through on the next visit up, but that's going to be after it comes down.
Joe, thank you. It was Kawhi Leonard, not Kevin Durant. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. How could I forget that? Kawhi Leonard never plays. Zoltan saying, or Jaylen Brown just talks too much because he was not chosen by Nike. A lot of these comments came long before this even happened. So I think there's a beef there. We'll see if it ends up materializing. I think the United States is going to just roll everybody anyway. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to affect how the team does in the long run. But we'll see. All right. IVP continuing to push.
Yep. There it goes. Just be careful. I really don't want anybody getting caught in this thing.
Here we go. Robert, that'll do it. My pre-earning Nike puts were still one of the biggest trades of the year. Calls just not attractive, in my opinion. Robert, I'm with you, dude. When I hit a stock for like a big move in a direction, it is very difficult for me to reverse and take the other side. I'd be curious to know what some of the more experienced traders feel about that over the course of their career, but that's definitely something that affects me to this day. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, IVP had that big old move and then it knifed again.
So I think what we've discovered here, 13, is that you really want to sell these pops prior to this knife, right? Maybe you can even reload on some of these knives down. So
treat it how you will. Just understand that we've seen a constant pattern here with IVP where it pops up and then it comes back in. It's done that almost every 5-minute candle since we unhalted. Just keep that in mind. Trade this how you will, but keep that in mind.
Wiss, have a great weekend, man. Go low if you play. Would love to hear what courses you play this weekend. Take care of yourself. We'll see you Monday.
right. Gosh, it's been a wonderful day. Kind of excited to see what the rest of the day has for us following the lunch hour.
Yeah. NISN here. Look, this might not be done here today. Actually, Tuna, there were a couple I meant to ask you about earlier today. I can't remember the other one, but we'll start here with NISN. I'd be curious to know what you see on the intraday chart here. Could NISN possibly pop through the VWAP and maybe get a bigger move to the highs here? Let me know what you think. Let me see if I can figure out what that other stock was I wanted to ask you about.
Ask me about?
No, Tuna.
Oh, Tuna? Okay. Now IVP is halted to the downside. As far as NISN, yeah, I'm not going to even speculate on NISN. They can say one thing, it can be completely different. So,
Chris, love hearing this. Stopped out of SPX, calls for a win. It basically went straight up out of the gate. I waited for the market to make a direction. Happy weekend. See you Monday. Chris, have a great rest of your weekend, man. You earned it this week without a doubt. Great stuff in the happy hour this week too. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you bright and early on Monday, boss.
Yeah, take care. Who was mentioning? Lion Atlas, WTRG. I believe this is the one that's been acquiring a lot of the Arizona utilities. Is that correct? I'm trying to go through and make sure that that's my assessment is correct. I remember there was one of them. I think it was this one that was trying to pick up all those because water is already a huge issue in Arizona, and it's only going to get bigger. It's absolutely huge right now.
Indeed. Real quickly, Robert saying, where can I find the new happy hour Zoom? Robert, I will go ahead and post that from time to time in the happy hour chat channel, the registration link in Pro. And it's also on that little banner at the bottom, that little notification banner. If you turned it off, you probably don't see it. It will guaranteed be there every single day. But I'll try to throw it in the happy hour chat channel as well. You got it.
Jay Rice, I did see your post earlier on it. I hope you heard what I was saying about it, because I do like this one, and I like getting it under 12. When it provides that opportunity. We've had that opportunity multiple times this week. We are a bit running right now, and I'm just I don't know what the news is right now, but we do have a launch coming up with this company either this month or next month. And speaking of launches, oh gosh, I can't wait for this. I believe it's going to be early next month in August when SpaceX is supposed to try their next Starship test flight. They are going to try to catch the booster this time with their orbital launch tower chopsticks. That's going to be a spectacle. That's going
to be awesome if they do that.
So, and they get better and better at these launches every time. They don't have a hurdle this time to get over because their last launch was so successful. The FAA has, they don't need to go through any investigations or anything. Everything went as planned. So there's like, yeah, go ahead. We'll issue the next license for your launch. It's upcoming. So really excited to see what happens with SpaceX there.
Yeah, that is going to be exciting. Okay, this is really good stuff. We had another great Friday here. Massive shout out to the chat, all of you on the YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter streets, X, whatever you want to call it. Really appreciate all of you folks and all of the participation today. 13, any closing words before we bring on Anne-Marie?
You guys have yourselves a wonderful weekend. You guys did a great job this week, and I hope you all made money, and I will see you on Monday to make more money.
Yeah, I would second that, 13. I would say our chat did an excellent job here. Tons of feedback, tons of good advice, tons of uplifting and helpful messages. You folks are the actual all-stars. We'll see you next Monday, 13. Take care of yourself. Promise me you'll enjoy your weekend, right, boss?
I promise.
Okay. It was reluctant, but he promised, so we're good. Take care, 13. 13's departure leaves an opening for the one and only Anne-Marie Baiynd. Anne-Marie, how are you? I love the scarf. I got to be honest with you. Love the scarf. How you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm a lot of toss-ups about whether we hold highs and collect things to the north in the broad markets, or we stall out at about that 50% marker. It's going to be very interesting.
Okay, I'm thrilled, and I definitely want to hear what you have to say about this. I want to see what types of trades we can set up today. I just want to say personally here for me, This is exactly what I have been waiting for. I have been waiting for some of the rotation out of this highly concentrated mess in tech into what 80% of my portfolio is, which is small cap. So it's been a bit rough in some of these names, but the last 2 days here, this rotation is as clear as day. Today, we're actually seeing IWM hold higher, even with the SPY and the Qs coming back. So really, really good stuff there. I want to see if this is just a 1, 2, 3 day wonder, or maybe if we get some more of this. I'm hoping for more of this because I think that when there are more than 7 stocks that are interesting, the market is better and we have more opportunity out there. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm super, super excited. I'm going to try and dial back my enthusiasm to keep it out of my bias. But let's talk about some stocks that we can potentially make some money on here today.
All right. Well, I've got a really interesting one that I want to say for just a minute. Okay. But I do want to look at this IWM because my thought process is fairly different from the general chatter.
Okay.
And so if you do follow me on X, you'll notice yesterday I actually put up this chart very similarly.
And really quick, let me jump in here. If you don't follow her on X, what on earth are you doing? Run, don't walk, and go hit that follow button for Amory. Amory, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So I put this IWM up and I said, listen, we have these higher lows. So it's likely to break out. And that's exactly what it's done. I'm looking at a weekly candlestick. And so the question is, where's it running and why is it running? So we have a sector rotation, maybe led by softer numbers that are confirming that we're going to lower interest rates. By how much, we have no idea. September might be one and done. It doesn't seem, I think there's only like a 20% chance of anything happening in July. And so the question is, why is this running? Well, Ryan just said it, sector rotation. Remember, when you put your money in a 401k or with Fidelity or with a Vanguard or with whomever you have your retirement funds with, they are never not in the market. And so what they're doing potentially here is taking some profits and rotating it into weak spaces in the market. And that's what we're seeing. And so when we have a breakout in IWM, it needs to potentially hold for us to think about things. And so my thought is we could easily run another $10. Maybe if we're lucky, we could run another $30. But let's think about this. If we have a rotation into weak performing charts and the market has to, let's say the market begins to falter and more stocks and earnings look a little light, it's still going to come back and bite the IWM. Because the contents of the IWM require debt to move, and many of them work on very tight margins. So looking at the past, I would say, listen, this is a great opportunity. We might get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week run if we're lucky. But do not buy the resistance edges as it gets above this 220 to 230 unless you're really willing to get right out if it loses those zones. Because if it loses those zones, if you stare it down and you go, okay, I'm going to get it, 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 and it goes all the way to 240 or even 250 and you go, here it is, I'm out, I'm in. The rotation down could be absolutely savage because we rotated down here, as you can see, from almost 200 to 160. Yep. And that is a big thing. So That's all I want to say about it. This is clearly in buy the dip, but as it gets higher, you have to think about using it as exit liquidity, because momentum, look at the momentum for the MACD. Well, actually, that's a TTM squeeze, but it looks just like a MACD. It's low momentum, so be careful. All right, here's the trade I'm absolutely loving. Now, I've got it in the queue. It has not filled yet.
Okay, so this is okay, cool. So this is a live active trade. Let's go.
Yes, I've got it in the queue. So it's on booking. Everybody's super excited about everybody opening up their credit cards for the hurrah of summer, right? And booking is coming into earnings, and it could have a pretty nice move. So what does a pretty nice move look like? Well, the last breakout was at the beginning of the month, and it moved from 3,925 to about 4,025. Let's just say $100. Okay. So the breakout edge is going to give us a likely another $100 off of this edge if it moves. Now it's got the earnings catalyst. Earnings catalyst could say something very, very big. And so when you're in the earnings catalyst, you're going to have higher implied volatility, and you're going to have a catalyst event that could potentially give juice to the position. So have a look at this. I have a double butterfly. I have no idea which way it's going to go, and it's unbalanced. So here's what I mean by the unbalanced butterfly. 40.50 to 4,100 gives us $50 of upside, but we also have a $10 credit. So if the market does nothing, we make the $10.80. If the market goes up to 4,100, the chart goes up to 4,100, we make $60.80 on this call butterfly. Now, we always know that when an unbalanced butterfly is in, or we get a credit somewhere, there's a high probability of a risk event that's going to potentially bite us. So where is that? Let's have a look. On this side, it's after we get to $4,160 is where we'll start to see our balance go negative here. So we have a ton of cushion, right? We're at 4,000 right now. We have a ride up to 4,100, which is $100 of motion. So sitting in the catbird seat, things go sideways on us above $4,160. If price action goes above $4,160, we have open to us the difference between $4,160 and $4,200, which is $40. Okay, so the question then is, what if it's a savage downside move? What if these guys come in and they go, holy cow, I'm going to break down off of my breakaway formation at 39.30 or so, and it's going to come all the way back to my last heavy congestion event. And I'm going to open this up so we can see it nice and pretty. Here it is, the breakout. If a chart fails, it's most likely to head to the baseline of the old breakout, and that's 3,800. So let's say it moves all the way to the downside at 3,800. What can we do? All right. My thought is, let's position like it's going to hold 3,800. So we want to collect some cash. We could say, listen, I'm going to buy my $3,860 put. I'm going to sell the $3,800 put, and I'm going to buy the $3,700 put. So this means I have $60 of upside if it goes from 3,860 to 3,800, and I have another credit, which is $3.40. So that's $63.40 that we have on the upside, and $37 on the downside. Absolutely incredible setup for motion here, because the overall market maker is sitting at $32 for a move from day to day, and it's moved twice that in one day here. And so it could fade very easily at the end of the day, and this credit could be $16. The reason that it's going down as price holds the level is because these options further downward are going to be more expensive the higher price goes, and it's going to tighten up our credit. So my thought is, see if you can get that for, I don't know, $12, $13, and, you know, put a hard stop on it if you see it lose these edges that make things go wonky. There's also a triage event that you can use, but that might take up a lot of time us going through, but it would be fun to work through, because I am taking these trades. I'm waiting for them to fill. I have the one at the top for 13, and I have the one at the bottom for 6. And that's what I'm waiting for.
Well, okay. So first of all, looking at this trade here, this expiry isn't out until August 16th, middle of the August. I don't know why that was so hard for me
and
to
they
say.
report on the 1st.
And they report on the 1st. So we actually have some time next week. Now, I know we're not going to have our option show on Tuesday.
That's right.
But we will be back on Friday.
Yes.
So you know what? Maybe depending on what this does, we should re-examine the booking butterfly and see if there's anything that we can kind of go over on Friday.
Love it.
And the other thing is, we'll see how this changes. Now, I do want to ask you, you had mentioned that you're not filled in this yet, right? This is sitting out there. So I'm looking at some of the open interest in the volume here, and it looks pretty sparse. Do we think that this is just not going to fill? I mean, is there a pretty good
So here's what's happening. The market maker is, I'm going to pester the market maker until he fills me, right? What I might do is wait a few hours and then try to put it in at the mark again. But the market maker has to already hold positions where him incurring the credit of giving it to us is going to be beneficial to him on his portfolio somehow. Maybe he's trading Gamma. Maybe he's trading Vega. Maybe he's, I don't know, maybe he's trading some other esoteric derivative to keep his formation. But yeah, it's going to be a hard fill. It's still waiting in the queue for me. So I will let you know when it fills, and I'll Slack you, let you know when it fills.
Okay.
And then we'll see. But yes, they are going to be harder fills, simply because the market maker that takes it is already assuming a loss, unless he sees IV spike and he knows we're going to be left holding the bag, per se, then he'll climb into it, right? Whatever positioning he's seeing. But yes, but this is an absolute, I was looking through high IV rankings and just punching numbers, and this came up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got to take this trade.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you shared it with us immediately. Pretty
Yeah.
awesome stuff there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have time for some more. Did you
Yes.
have any more
Well,
on your list?
you know, I want to talk about no, we already talked about Tesla. I really don't have anything on my list because I was looking for IV.
I
IV
got one we can
spikes.
take a look
Yeah.
at.
Love it.
Okay,
Give it to me.
so here, one of the stocks that we talked about earlier today was Generac, ticker GNRC. We are in hurricane season. We're actually seeing Generac trade up recently. We've been looking at this over several days here. So here you go. So maybe this is something that we can the only problem with this, Anne Marie, is that I did not do research ahead of time. I don't know what the option chain looks like here in terms of volume and all that.
Yeah,
and really quickly, I got to ask you, what do you think of this as a nickname? Anne Marie, Madam Butterfly.
Well, I do like it. However, if people go to the play, it's actually about a cross-dresser. So I don't know if you know that.
Okay. I didn't. I would not have said that had I have known that. I appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Carmen. I tried. I tried.
I do like it. You could call me Miss Butterfly or Lil Butterfly.
Lil Butterfly. Okay. Look, we like to laugh things off here on this show, so I can really appreciate that. There you go, Carmen. Hope that was good for you. I didn't expect to get that on Friday. Let's break into Generac here and see. I was not prepared for that. Let's break into Generac here and see if we can't come up with something.
All right. So let's do first of all, let's use the option stats. 5,000 options have already traded today, so not too bad. 500 of them out of the money, 8 on the call side, 800 of them out of the money on the put side. So they're selling volatility. IV ranking, not too bad, really. So directional move, I don't know, but a couple of things we can do. When are their, what is their earnings?
Let me pull that here for you real quick.
7:31. I see.
There you go. You did it faster than I could. That's
all right.
wonderful.
So what do we have? Down, up, down, down, and then up, 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 and then down. Okay, so they're all over the place. They are all over the place in terms of earnings and such. I see that they're caught in this gigantic base.
Yep.
Right? That's super huge. And they've been caught in a base since the 2022 low, right? So the whole market is run without them. This might be a rotation event. And if we, let's do this. Let's do a measured move. And let's take the entire beast of the move. And so it's that. And if we take it at its breakout, we can see that it breaches this line, which is relative congestion at 218. Listen, this is how a chart looks like. This is how a chart looks when it's getting ready to break out and do something, right? Series of higher lows. It could take time, right? Because these are weekly candlesticks.
Yep.
And so last time it took 1, 2, 3, 4 downward weeks. We know that downward moves are usually faster than upward moves. So let's take it to 2x. So if we want to do something that's going to give us some runway. We need to have at least 8 weeks of option time premium. So let's go to September. Yes, September will give us enough time. And then, whoops, let me brain sieve right here. Let's say 200 is where we might go, and 225 might be what we see on the upper edge of this, right? So that's pretty far away. Yeah, they don't even have options up that high. So what are they thinking? No breakouts. What do we have? 175. Let's look at that. 175. 185. 195. 53 cents for a move out into September. 63 cents now. Out into September that says, listen, if this moves, it's going to be in great shape. So I think that's a nice cheap way to position, because if we tried to buy even the 175, that's, that's 470, right? On the move up. If per happenstance we wanted to take something a little riskier, that's that 177. Let's see what happens if we widen this. And instead of let's go to 165. It certainly widens it a great deal, the amount of the cost. But if we went to 80, and then we went to 200, now the risk there, this would be $15 on the upside, $20 on the downside. I think it's better to anticipate the break of the level. This is a $10 move to the upside and a $20 move to the downside. Mm-hmm. That's why that one is that cheap. This one might work also, right? Puts us $5 closer than the 175. Still gives us a $10 move. The option is going to be twice as much. And if it continues to run, here's what you can do. You can always roll this end into the future. So what does that mean? That would mean let's say this thing runs all the way to 180 and it looks like it's going to go to 190. We could buy them back, right? So we would buy the 180, 190, and we could move into November and sell the 185, 195, and it would give us a credit. And we could kick the can down the road a little bit if price action doesn't do exactly what we want it to do. And we would have collected the $10 above. So we would still have the $9.10 of a credit that we would be moving through as we kick the can down the street. So that's called triage. And it's what happens in a butterfly sometimes if the wings go crazy and it's an outsized move that is going to have some kind of volatility snapback.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Amanda's asking, what are those strikes on GNRC? So I'll go ahead and read them here for you. The butterfly, those top three in the green shaded area, you've got 170, 180, 190. And then the strikes in the vertical roll in that red shaded area, 185, 195, 180, and 190. She's going to try and make it a little bit bigger here for you. Let me know if that's easier to see. Graphic user interface, amazing handle for a YouTube chat name. I got to be honest with you there. That is absolutely fantastic. Where can I learn more of this strategy with Anne-Marie Baiynd? You can go directly into Benzinga Pro. If you are a Benzinga Pro subscriber, in addition to the news feed and all of the other suite of tools that we have available to you, you also have access to the chat channel, and Anne-Marie does all of her coaching, videos, and trades in that chat channel. So if you want more of Anne-Marie, head on over to pro.benzinga.com. I'll actually see if I can get you a link with a sale here. Give me a sec to try and find that. Let me see if I can do that here real quick. Yep, I sure can. You are in luck today, graphical user interface. Here you go. That is with the sale already applied. Okay, she's so smiley. I love it. Yeah, me too. Happiness is a choice. And I'll tell you what, when you're doing something that is stressful and emotional like trading here, focusing with other people that are smiling is incredibly important. So real good stuff there. Regarding Generac here, a couple of thoughts. First of all, 13, who has also been looking at Generac, said that, you know, this move that we're talking about could take the entire hurricane season. I think that runs into August. I can't remember. 13,
actually,
September.
It runs into November.
November.
The
Okay,
2nd.
so there's plenty of room there too. Okay, awesome. And then Shannon, I'm thinking GNRC is going to hang around and build some support levels until the earnings come out and have a couple of tropical storms lined up back to back. End of September for a couple of weeks, and then Red Rocket countdown lift up. That's a meme there that I'm just unfortunately reading. Okay, so we'll see. I love this. I love the trade here on Generac. We'll see.
It's definitely one to watch for sure.
Yeah, for sure it is. For sure it is. Okay, Anne-Marie, really good stuff. We're almost up against it here. We're going to have Options Sandy coming on next here with Zunaid. Anne-Marie, again, just as kind of a reminder, no show next Tuesday, but we will be back on Friday. So
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'll see you then. Hopefully my voice will be back.
I'll tell you what, it's already coming back. Your tip there with that specialty honey and echinacea, I saved that. I will try that if that ever happens. So,
it's
real good stuff. It's good. Okay, Anne-Marie, enjoy your weekend. Rest up. Have a good one.
Take care.
Take care of yourself.
Bye-bye.
We are just filling time waiting for Zunaid to get ready here. Once we can bring Zunaid on, we'll go ahead and transfer. Oh, look at that.
A part of me just kind of wanted you to just keep going. I'm like, you know what? I can't do that to Sandra. So
Zunaid,
let me not do that.
You knew I was going to be able to do that, but of course you're not going to broke in your guest. What do you got coming up here?
Well, we've got options trading made simple with Sandy. I know Elon was, I think, one of the folks in the chat were saying, hey, when's Sandy coming on? She was busy a couple of weeks ago. We had people off for the 4th of July week on the production side, but everybody's back to work. Everybody's clocked in. It's 11:31. It's time to trade options.
I'll get out of your way then.
You got it, boss. See y'all later. Sandra, give me a thumbs up. Perfect. What is going on? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. How's everybody doing out there?
You know, I love doing this show with you. And obviously, I'm going to go in the back. You'll go ahead and lead things. But I love doing this show, not just because I like hearing your ideas, because I know it's Friday. And that's always a cherry on top. Right. You know what I mean? That's
whenever you see me, you know it's Friday.
That's when I know that I've got a couple of days off to kind of relax, which I lied. I usually still answer emails. But I'll let you kind of take it away. Can I share your screen? And of course, we'll get your intro going here as
Sounds
well. Good. But hopefully you've got a profitable week and some ideas for us. But of course, this is Options Trading Made Simple with Sandy.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fit-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
I just love that. Hey guys, good morning. Happy Friday. So what do we got going on here? You know, we had a lot of puts on the books yesterday. We got a pullback. It shocked everybody. Let's go over here to SPX and take a look. And so what I have here on the screen, let's just take a look at a 4-hour. This little indicator right here where it's green and white and red, really this is the weekly expected move with volatility in the market. And oftentimes it's really nice to be able to see that weekly expected move, because what that does is you can actually see that when we come up to it, we typically do a little bit of a back off here. And right now we're right back over it. So typically speaking, 68% of the time, we actually close within our weekly expected move. And so in all probabilities, we typically may pass it, but at the end of the week, we come right back to it. So we ended up hitting it here. We got a pullback, and now you can see we're right back over to it. So there was a lot of puts on the books because of this little action here. And because of yesterday's price action, all the puts on the books and then the overnight action where people were buying ended up causing a gamma squeeze. Now, oftentimes, a gamma squeeze, a lot of people don't recognize what a gamma squeeze is, but a gamma squeeze is kind of like an internal market mechanism. So the market makers are actually taking in all the institution buying and selling as well as retailers, but retailers are only about 3 to 5% of traders. So really the candlesticks and everything that you see in the market is really done by institutions. And so when the institutions are buying overnight and the market opens up, all of a sudden the market makers have to hedge their positions that they're all taking in. And what they do is they buy stock, they buy the indices, they buy the ETFs, they buy everything, and then they sell puts on it. And what that does is it evens out, right? It hedges their position because they need to stay delta neutral. What ends up happening is this buying all of a sudden of the market makers as well as all the institutions jumping in. Well, then all those puts overnight are screaming, oh my God, I got to get out of my position. So they start closing their positions. And when they start closing their positions, all of a sudden, it just makes the market keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Now, one of the really cool recipes that you can identify a gamma squeeze is a couple little items that are really easy to memorize. So the first is that you open up in the morning, you have a gap up. You make no attempt, the market makes no attempt whatsoever to actually come and fill that gap. And this is that shaded area that I have here. And the market doesn't attempt to fill this gap that we have. Now, remember, oftentimes the market will gap up or gap down. And within a healthy market, we usually fill the gap and we'll either gap and go, continue in the same direction, or we'll do a gap and crap, which is we fill the gap and then we go in the same direction that we were in. But this time we didn't. We actually didn't even attempt to fill the gap. We basically got zero pullback for the mid-morning reversal. If you don't know what time that occurs, these are all the little pieces to the puzzle, right? All the tidbits. Mid-morning reversal typically happens at 10:15 Eastern Standard Time and lasts between 10:15 and 10:30. So typically there's about half an hour there where you'll see a pullback. If the market's bullish, it'll pull back a little bit. It's the mid-morning reversal. And so if you don't know that, I used to have to jot that down on a little like stick-em note on my computer until I got that memorized. But if you know that and you see that there's not much of a pullback, we don't fill the gap, we break above our pre-market high. Those are the three ingredients for me that goes, oh, guess what? We just might be in a gamma squeeze. And that just means that it's just a kind of a phenomena. It's a market mechanism that you have a ton of puts on the books. People are closing out those puts. Calls are coming in. Market makers have to hedge and buy the actual stock or the indice, as well as sell puts on that, which is all bullish for the market. And it just makes the market go up and up and up. Now, as we take a look at our chart here, you can see that I have outlined that weekly expected move. We're bumping again our heads right on it. Could we expect a pullback? We possibly could, unless there's still a whole bunch of orders out there that haven't been dealt with. So we could see this pull back a little bit, but it's awfully bullish, and we've already had that crazy move today, which was awesome. We ended up taking not only AMD, let's take a look at that. We also took Tesla. So a lot of good stocks to get in. I don't know why I can't seem to type this morning. There we go. But let's take a look at Amazon. So Amazon here, which wasn't one of the stocks we took, but let's take a look at it. If we take a look at a longer time frame, we can see that Amazon actually came up to this channel that we have going on here, came pretty close to it. And this is the weekly. This is interesting. This is the weekly point of control for that indicator that I was showing you. And you can see that we could never just really like confirmly get above it. And so what did we do? We went down, we tagged the weekly expected move to the lower side. And you can see that momentum is actually going lower on a daily. This actually looks more bearish than it does bullish. And so we'll see if you can see now where we broke above it on a 4-hour. We broke above that channel. Now we're coming back into that channel. So we could get back into a range and come right back down here by next week, 183. Oh, by the way, if you have any charts, put them in the chat box and I'll pull them up. And I wanted to take a look at Tesla, because Tesla had a nice move this morning. Let's take a look at a 15. So you can see that this morning had a very big candle here on the downside, ended up testing our weekly expected move on the low side, coming right back up to point of control. And you can see that we're just hitting resistance. So all of these stocks yesterday that were basically oversold are now at resistance levels again today. So we're basically back into our range. So it looks like if we can break above a 151, let's say, we could get a move by next week to 266. So that actually looks interesting. We took it as a day trade today on a 5-minute. We took it as a day trade today. And I still actually have a debit spread for next week to see if we come over here and do a double top and break the top, continue to go and retest that point of control. And then what was the other one? Oh, yeah, AMD. That was it. So AMD also was a nice little day trade after it broke above the 184 range. Got up here to, what is that high? 185.70. We're right back in the same spot. You could see where resistance is. This is the pivot high, pivot low for this time period. Let's take a look at a daily. You could see what next week's daily range is for AMD. AMD needs to basically break above 185.79. Let's make it 186. If we can break above 186 next week, this thing's going higher to 195. If we break below it, we go down to the 176 area. So let me take a look at some of your charts if you have any. I have 95 puts expiring next month, but I'm not sure about keeping them. You know, Amanda, when is this on AMD, by the way? Oh, she was talking to Carmen. Sorry. Let's see. What else you guys got? Any other charts? Yeah, Tesla, just a reclaim. Let's take a look at that again. So yeah, what we're doing is we're just coming back and testing all the recent levels that we had. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. So 723, we got some earnings here. And boy, we actually had an outside day where we an outside week, we completely tagged in 1 week the expected high and low. So very volatile here. We need to get really above 252 for the next move up. And so that's what I'm waiting for. And you can see on an hourly, we're still right underneath that 20 being reversion to the mean. And you can see that momentum looks like it's curving here. So be aware, guys, that even though we had a bullish day today, that it may not continue. We're just really coming up into resistance, and we may get a pullback if we don't break above some of these levels and have momentum drive the price. Because really, momentum drives price. It's not the other way around. So it's always good to have a momentum indicator on your charts. But as I look at this and us tagging the weekly low, I can see us already maybe if we can pop up above that 5-day. Yeah, the 152 or 252, 253 level looks important for Tesla. Let's take a look at, I think Google was looking a little bearish. Let's take a look at Google. Indeed. So yesterday's move, really no follow through today. So today we had a gamma squeeze, a lot of the tech stocks coming right back up to their resistance level. And what's Google doing? It's not following suit. So it has basically a strong weakness in it, comparably to the other tech stocks. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs looks nice. Qs followed through with the gamma squeeze. Looking like we're at a consolidation level right here. If we can pop above that 498 level, looks like we may go up higher. However, Google, on the other hand, looks like a nice short, doesn't it? On a 5-minute, we just been range bound. Momentum, boy, it looks like it's been consolidating here in this same zone for a while. It's going to need to have to do something here. Could go down to 183, could go down to a couple more bucks here. It's kind of right at this level for next week. If it stays above 186, let's say, for next week, it could finally go higher, but it really looks like it wants to come and tag that 20, which is its reversion to the mean. You can actually see on a daily chart that we're right at the zero line on momentum. If we break below that zero line, we could get a nice little pullback for the weekly expected move down to about 179. That could be a really good put play, guys. That could be a good put debit spread. In fact, let's do that on Google. I'm looking at a daily, and I'm looking at, here's the weekly. Today is Friday. Here's the weekly expected move here. And we're right underneath the pivot high, so we broke below it. We could come down and retest 181 at a minimum. And you can see on a 1 hour how momentum is shifting. It's not trying to break above the zero line. Guys, I'm actually going to do a weekly. Let's do for next week. I'm going to do a Google put a debit spread. So you're going to come right over here to the spread, which is single, go down to vertical. And let's see, we're at 185 right now. So I think, boy, you could get in cheap here if you buy the 182.5, 185. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for a couple. So this is going for about $87. You're controlling 100 shares of Google puts, basically. You're selling. You're basically saying, hey, look, I think that Google next week is going to stay below 182.5. Now, when we look right back out over here, we're looking to see on a daily for next week, we could get over to 179. So yeah, looking for it to go lower. Either anything below 182.50 is going to create a gain for us. So by the way, if you put this on your analyze graph on Google, you could see that we're getting it right here. And what we're wanting it to do is basically move down. And as it's moving down, even though we're not in the blue area, which is the way that the graph looks of your trade, but as we move down, you can see that if you look right over here, you can see that it's making money, right? As it's moving down. If by next Friday, we stay below that that strike of 182.50 and time passes, we can make about, I have 3 contracts here, we can make about $489 up to, right? And I really like to do debit spreads where you're taking 50% off. At least you're selling some of your position when you hit the 50% profit. And then if you hit a 50% loss, then you're out of the game, right? Then your thesis is no longer valid. And you can always keep an eye on your point of control for next week, which is around that 185.42 area, kind of where we're at right now. If we pop above it to the 186, 186.50, you can give this $1. Then it could invalidate the position, and you can easily get out with less than 50% loss. But I just like to let it kind of work itself out. But this is looking more bearish than it is bullish, and looking for a continuation to break here. And this rolling over, I really like this rolling over. So a relative weakness in Google. And so I'm going to let me go ahead and finish that trade out. Going for about 90 cents, taking a couple of those contracts. Anybody have any charts that they want me to go over? The probability on the graph is winning is only 27%. Yeah, and that's because we are forecasting, right? We are forecasting that Google's going lower. And because of that, we're getting a very inexpensive trade that we can make actually some really good money on. So let's take a look at that. And let me change this as an example to a one contract. And if we put this in, say, confirm and send, you can see here that our max loss is $87 per contract, but our gain is twice that amount, okay? And because it's 27, it's actually, I would say you pretty much have a 50-50. If we end up moving closer, then great. You'll see the probabilities actually work itself out if we start going bearish. But if you believe that it's going to go bullish and you're utilizing some other probabilities here that I don't see, well then please don't take the trade. You don't have to. You don't have to. If you don't like it, don't do it. I think it looks bullish personally, but we'll see how it pans out next week. That's how I look at it. You got to just kind of trade what's on the chart. I asked Lucid before about 190 day expiration. What do you think about that? A Lucid, is that what you wanted me to take a look at it? Thanks, Robert. Yeah, take a look at that chart. Relative weakness on Google. Definitely relative weakness. Now, is it Lucid that you wanted me to take a look at? Let's take a look at Lucid. I don't really trade Lucid. Is it LCD? No. Let's see. Lucid. Here it is. LCID. All right. Oh my gosh, look at this candle today. Oh, it's a $4 stock. That's why I don't take it. Okay. So I like, stocks that are at least minimum 10 bucks. But let's take a look at this. Wow, what a move today. Was there some news on this or something, guys? Completely bullish. However, you know what? On the 4-hour, we're already bypassing. We're bypassing the 200 mark here, kind of overbought. Let's take a look at an hourly. You can see on an hourly, if we draw a trend line here. So really on an hourly, looking for a break above 422, guys, for a continuation of that bullish move, right? So it made a high and now it's consolidating, and we're really wanting it to break through this trend line on an hourly. If we take a look, I mean, everything is bullish on this guy. Interesting that it says a down squeeze, and I bet that was because the momentum on a 5-minute was lower. You can see on an hourly how I made that trend line here. I want you to also take a look. This is called Darvis, and Darvis identifies consolidation on any time frame. So here you can see on a 5-minute, which would be a day trade for me, really we're in consolidation, and until we break above 432, that would mean a bullish continuation. So 432, right near that 1-hour trend line that I made. at the 421 level. So just remember, if you bypass the 421, you're going to 432 and really looking for about a 435 breakout here is what I'm looking at. At or above that, and you got yourself a continuation trade for the bullishness. Nice little move today, by the way. Let's see if we have any others. So I bought the 200-day option yesterday for $13. Oh, let me take a look at that then. The 200, what do you, I thought that was for Lucid. Sorry, guys. Small caps rally. Okay, you guys are talking about that. So let's take a look and see what is Gamma doing. Are you guys familiar with Gamma as far as JEX, where the market makers are taking in those trades and then they kind of identify what the move is on SPX? Look at SPX on its weekly, still staying above it, but got a little bit of a pullback here. And you can see for next week what next week's move is for SPX, guys. So already the indicator is creating what the expected move is for next week with the volatility. And you can see how, by the way, that channel, whenever you get to a trigger level, any trigger level, support or resistance, it's going to act as a magnet. And what will end up happening, I call it a fake out zone, really wanting a one-day candle to be above it or below it to kind of determine where we're going. But as you can see, all these 3 days, we're actually right on top of that channel. So really looking for some continuation or a rejection of SPX. And still coming up to the pivot high for the 15-minute and not being able to pass it, acting as resistance right now and just consolidating. So let's see. I was going to actually look at the levels for Gamma. We have an app basically in our Discord that gives us the levels. So right now there's $94 billion coming into the market. And zero Gamma, which is point of control on SPX, is at 56.11. So we're at 56.35 right now, meaning that we're in a bullish trend. Now, the levels for support and resistance for SPX, let's see, is 5,600. So we already passed that. 5,600 for support and 5,640 for resistance. 5,640. Now look at our pivot on a 15-minute. Look at our pivot high. It's at 5,642. Very similar. So this could go up another $5 maybe, but that's where the market makers basically are hedging their positions after taking in all of today's trades. So really looking bullish while the VIX is down today, down 5%. And of course, our indicator really showing bullishness at 55.94 and hitting almost 5 targets. Looks like it's got one more identified. Oh my gosh, right at the 56.40 level, which matches Gamma perfectly. Any questions, guys, about Gamma? I'm taking it with put strikes at 180, 190. Excellent. Nice, Robert. Check out their latest shareholder update. All right, on Beam. Let's see. I stay with AMD 185 calls expiring in August. Not a bad trade. AMD really looking like it wants to push. I saw also a whole bunch of option flow in AMD this week, a ton of it, by the way. So they may be preparing for that move as well. And then let me see. Do we have any other trades that you guys want me to take a look at today? Any EV stocks? Oil selling off again. Oil just can't catch a bid. All right. No other positions. Well, you know, a lot of times on the weekends, what I'll do is go over our weekly watch list and then just automate our trades for the week. By the way, guys, if you don't know how to do the automation, check out some of my videos on my channel, YouTube channel, Trading Made Simple with Sandra. And you can start automating your trades on the weekend and just let them go for the entire week. And what that does is it offers you, right, some simple analysis on the weekend, You can have a simple watch list that you can just rinse and repeat over and over again. If you've never done that before, I highly recommend it. I talk about it in a new program called Autopilot, which you could take a look at. It's tradingmadesimple.org, tradingmadesimple.org/autopilot. And you can learn all about it, but a very simple way to create passive income just by keeping a small watch list, a nice watch list of nice mega cap stocks. You could do this with either stocks or options. We give you the point of control and we show you what the trigger levels are, so you don't have to do any of that charting on your own. And every single weekend on your own, maybe 20, 30 minutes, do some OCO orders. I teach you how to do that. If you're in a hurry, you can use some of our templates, and you can just rinse and repeat each and every weekend to just basically play out the probabilities of, hey, if we're above point of control, we're going higher to the next trigger level. And if we break below point of control, we're going lower to the next trigger level without you manually trading and then utilizing your human emotions for fear and greed and trying to basically forecast the market moment by moment. So I hope that was helpful today. And I hope you have a great week. And we'll see if Google ends up going down a little bit next week.
Well, that's what kind of makes a market, right? You have different opinions, different interpretations of what the chart's going to do, what the fundamentals are going to look like. And, that is what makes a market. But Sandra, great to have you back. The folks obviously love engaging with you and getting your trade ideas as well. So thank you so much for your time here this Friday. And I know I've been teasing this trading competition or the launch of it for quite some time now. And we're getting closer. We're getting closer. So the actual trading competition is going to start in September, but we have like a new show with different ideas and things like that. So we'll connect.
I hope to be a part of that. That sounds like fun.
I will reach out. Thank you so much, Sandra. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See ya. Goodbye.